Chapter 401 Battle begins once more. Choju was shocked, quickly concentrating his mind and pushing his soul, meditating resist this yellow light. This yellow light was supported by Fang Yuan's soul power, but he was young and had weaker foundations in his soul compared to this 100-year-old monster Choju. To enslave Choju, it would not be an easy task. But why would Fang Yuan not see this coming? He had his ways. Piak piak. Bam bam bam. Stop. You dare to hit me. Kick my face again and I'll fight it out with you.
Efgar, still kicking, I'll kill you.
Stop hitting No, no more. Fang Yuan hit Choju until he rolled around. Choju could not use goo worms, but Fang Yuan had his strength path goo worms available. Comparing strength, Choju was not Fang Yuan's match. Quickly, Choju's face was bruised, and his distraction meant that the yellow light fused into his body more deeply. Hold on, I have to block it. Once it fuses completely, I will be his slave. I will have no way out. Choju squeezed into a ball as he allowed Fang Yuan to hit him, the strong sense of danger causing his hair to stand. Just a tiny bit of light left, near his forehead, unable to fuse properly. Fang Yuan laughed coldly, suddenly saying, "Zhang Niu, you don't want revenge. Chenju betrayed you and is living well with Xianxia Fei." "You? How did you know?" Choju was taken by surprise, the light quickly entering his body with this chance. Choju's expression instantly changed, kneeling before Fang Yuan. "This subordinate greets master." Fang Yuan laughed heartily. "Success? This rank 5 slavery Gu should be used on a rank 5 Gu master to express its true worth. Till now, Mo Wu Tian and Xiao Mang had not arrived yet. Tai Mu Bai, Wu Gi Kumo, and Wu Lan Shan were all killed by Fang Yuan. The final choice was Wang Xiao, the owner of Wu Mountain and killer ghost Dr. Choju. But how could Wu Mountain compare to the Door of Life and Death? The Door of Life and Death was a forbidden land on the same level as the River of Time. Enslaving Choju meant getting the clue to the Door of Life and Death. Moreover, Choju is one of the 4 great doctors of southern border. His influence even spread to the righteous path. He was definitely better than Mo Wu Tian. The only flaw was that enslaving Choju placed a great burden on Fang Yuan's soul. It was a problem for his upcoming immortal Gu refinement. Choju, back then, did you use the poison vow Gu with Dr. Su Xiao swearing to love each other for eternity, never abandoning each other? Fang Yuan looked at the killer ghost doctor, asking a question. There is indeed such a matter, but master, how did you know? Choju kneeled on the ground and answered with a bruised face, feeling confused. Since you used the poison vow Gu, do you know how Dr. Su Xiao lifted its restrictions? Fang Yuan squinted his eyes. Poison vow Gu is Mountain Pledge Sea Oath Gu's replacement. Chenju does not have the ability to negate it. She took a great risk for that gigolo Xianxia Fei, letting the poison vow kill her. Without a host, the poison vow's strength vanished. She then used healing techniques to resurrect herself, getting free of the poison vow. Choju said this with a furious expression. He loved his senior sister greatly, but she betrayed him for a gigolo, even ignoring the dangers to her life, and broke the poison vow. Fang Yuan heard this and was even more furious than him, lifting his leg and kicking Choju away. "You lying piece of shit!" He remembered that in his previous life, Choju said this. "We took an oath in front of the blessed land sea to protect and stand by each other." But who could have thought her heart had already changed and actually broke the oath we took at that time and injured me, defecting with that thief? What oath? It was the mother-ficking poison vow Gu. This Choju only spoke of less important matters, making important information unclear and concealing himself. If he had said poison vow Gu back then, Fang Yuan reckons he would not have been so unaware, not knowing that there was a person in Shangclan City that could break free from poison vow Gu, and thus he would have been careful of Bai Ningbing. But I should have guessed it. When Choju talked about Xianxia Fei's appearance, he said that he was only slightly better looking. Saying such shameless words like it was natural, it was no surprise that he would not mention the Gu. Fang Yuan looked at Choju with contempt. Saying he loved her, but used the poison vow Gu to restrict her. It showed how sinister and inferior his inner heart was. Such a person speaking with exaggerated truths was nothing strange. Fang Yuan was also suspicious of how Bai Ningbing broke free from the poison vow. Even in his previous life, Bai Ningbing did not say the reason. Now Fang Yuan knew. It was Dr. Su Xiao who helped her break free of it. All right, let the past be past. Ju, go to King Xin Inheritance and get me undefeated 100 battles. Gu Fang Yuan collected his thoughts and instructed, this subordinate will do all that he can. Ju answered. Ju was a healing Gu master. He was not a refinement path master like Feng Tianyu. It was impossible to ask him to assist Fang Yuan in refining second aperture Gu, but it was extremely easy for him to get the undefeated 100 battles Gu. This is because the blessed land was weakening. Not long later, Gu worms would be usable. Ju just needed to charge ahead and he would obtain undefeated 100 battles Gu. At this point, Fang Yuan's slaughter ended. He returned to the hall and continued refining Gu. Compared to his previous life, he saved a lot of time after rebirth. Without the spring-autumn cicadas pressure, it was much easier. Back then, he only spent an hour a day refining Gu like a maniac, forcing his own limits. But now he could sleep 6 hours, slowly and steadily, refining Gu with perfect sequence. Days continued to pass, and the blessed land was getting weaker. But the immortal essence expenditure was much less than last time. Fang Yuan had his experience from the last time. He took less detours this time. Many steps were completed in one try, and the land spirit was extremely amazed. Three Kings' Inheritance's weird state attracted everyone's attention. As time went on, Che clan, Zuo clan moved out, and Xiao Mang and Mo Wu Tian also appeared on Sancha Mountain. Finally, October 24th came again. Master, this subordinate has succeeded. Ju kneeled on the ground, holding up a Gu, handing it to Fang Yuan. This Gu had a bland appearance, like a gray stone disc. It was none other than undefeated 100 battles Gu. In his previous life, Feng Tianyu, who Fang Yuan enslaved, obtained King Xin Inheritance and had several hundred hairy men as followers. Now, Ju was not a refinement path master. He broke through by force, only getting the undefeated 100 battles Gu. Not a single hairy men followed him, but the hairy men were good at Gu refinement. They could not battle. The hairy men's line of defense was as good as nothing. Fang Yuan did not mind it. After keeping undefeated 100 battles Gu, Fang Yuan gave instructions before sending Chao Ju away. This process was done in the dark. Bai Ningbing did not learn of it. Fang Yuan returned to the Bronze Hall, and Bai Ningbing had already arrived. Behind her, there were 100,000 dog beasts, either resting or playing around. Fang Yuan smiled lightly. Bai Ningbing, hand your Gu worms to the land spirit. What? Bai Ningbing was shocked. Aren't I commanding these dogs? The land spirit can use Gu worms. Its manipulation is better than yours. Fang Yuan explained. Land spirit appeared, slightly worried. Young man, I have to refine Gu with you while controlling the immortal essence. If I have to expend effort controlling the dogs, I might not have the energy to do so. Fang Yuan snickered, his expression extremely confident. No worries. Aren't you confident of my actions? Among the enemies I have my pawn pieces too. There are sufficient Primaville stones here for you to manipulate the dogs. Is that so? Bagui hesitated, but thinking of Fang Yuan's secret identity, he agreed in the end. As for you, Bai Ningbing, come with me. When I refine Gu, I need a trustworthy person to defend me. Fang Yuan patted Bai Ningbing's shoulder, showing a kind and affectionate smile. Bai Ningbing snorted, her gaze shining secretly as she said in a flat tone, Up to you, as long as you don't die. Whether the Gu refinement succeeds or not is none of my business. Fang Yuan and Bai Ningbing entered the hall together. Fang Yuan sat down as Bai Ningbing acted as his guardian. Fang Yuan shut his eyes, not doing anything. What are you waiting for? There is not much time. Bai Ningbing endured for a while before breaking the silence. Ningbing, stay calm. Some things cannot be rushed. Fang Yuan smiled lightly, no anxiety at all, as he spoke plainly. Bai Ningbing snorted, not speaking, her eyes squinting, thinking in her heart. What is this Fang Yuan thinking of? He took away my commanding rights. Is he suspicious of me? No, he arranged for me to be in the hall. He still trusts me. I have to continue enduring. She thought of Tai Ruonan, feeling assured she is blocked by the dog groups outside now. Without my assistance, she can only break through by force. Damn it, he did not let me control the dogs. Thankfully, we have a backup plan. Tai Bai Chi is already secretly on Xianxia Mountain. A moment later, Fang Yuan was calm and resting, not doing anything. This time, even the land spirit came to urge Fang Yuan to refine the Gu. But Fang Yuan rejected him, not doing anything. Land spirit was anxious. Its tone became slightly angry, but Fang Yuan used his rebirth identity to convince it. At this time, on Sancha Mountain Peak, blue-red light pillars were thin and weak, still shining on the mountain peak. King Quan Inheritance's yellow pillar was gone. The previous time, only red pillar was left. That was because Feng Tianyu took King Xin Inheritance. But this time, Chaoju was not a refinement master. He could not break through the final round, thus 2 pillars were left. I wonder who took King Quan Inheritance. 2 left. Us small free have no chance. But it is really strange. None of the rank 5 Gu masters in the inheritance came out. Did something happen? That's right. King Quan Inheritance was inherited, but why did the others not come out? They are being retained inside the Blessed Land. This Blessed Land is facing destruction. Soon the door will open, allowing us to enter and exit at will. A voice echoed. It is Lord Xiaomang. Someone cheered, recognizing the person's identity. Chapter 402, All is within my control. Extreme Light Gu, Heaven's Will Gu, Empty Fist Gu, Killer Move, Immemorial Light Fist. Xiaomang stood at the peak of Sancha Mountain and used his killer move, causing the sky to dim. Light rays formed into a giant hill-sized fist and pierced through the Blessed Land's barrier. In an instant, the whole Blessed Land shook, and an enormous hole formed, forming a passage connecting the inside to the outside. Gu masters could enter through it without any obstructions. Charge! Everything in the Blessed Land is ours. We need to hurry, or else we won't be able to seize anything. Unfortunately, the good stuff will be taken by those experts. It will be good if they leave just the soup for us. How nice would it be if I can luckily obtain King Xin and King Bao inheritance? It was a scene of chaos. Countless people cheered while rushing into the Blessed Land, causing the pressure on the Blessed to greatly increase. This is it. He, a bunch of idiots. Xiaomang laughed coldly inwardly and stepped into the Blessed Land. The Bronze Hall also recovered from the tremors. Land Spirit transmitted its voice to Fang Yuan, so you were waiting for this tremor to pass. It was really dangerous. If it was during the Gu refinement process, it would have caused a huge disturbance, and the consequences would be too terrible to imagine. You are truly a Gu immortal who has been reborn. Fang Yuan smiled and transmitted a mental message. I am not only a Gu immortal, but also your future master. Bagi, you need to know I am the best candidate for refining the immortal Gu. The more you cooperate with me, the higher our chance of refining the immortal Gu. Now, I remember there will be 2 more tremors. We need to avoid them as much as possible. All right, let's begin the Gu refinement. Fang Yuan threw the false second aperture, Gu, into the cauldron. With the land spirit's cooperation, the bronze cauldron burned without any fire, and the remaining bit of immortal essence started combusting. Immortal essence combusted and formed into a blue smoke that gracefully rose and covered the false second aperture Gu. The false Gu floated above the bronze cauldron and was turned into dazzling yellow light by this blue smoke. Fang Yuan concentrated his attention in harmonizing the blue smoke and yellow light. Previously, he refined the Gu together with Feng Tianyu. Now he was doing it alone and was thus slightly slower. Mo Wu Tian arrived at the edge of the dense fog by himself. His deep and mysterious purple eyes were enchanting and wild. Through his purple eyes, the fog seemed to be invisible, and the sea of dog beasts showed themselves in his sight. Such a tight defensive formation. One man alone cannot charge through it. It seems I will need to borrow strength. He resolutely turned around and after a while found Hu Mei-er. Ah, young Master Wu Tian, you have actually advanced to rank 5. Hu Mei-er was shocked at Mo Wu Tian's cultivation progress. Mo Wu Tian talked of the immortal treasure, and was able to immediately incite the desire in Hu Mei-er, who expressed her full support. However, when they were on their way, they found that the news about the immortal treasure had already spread.
The two inquired about the details and learned the news was released by the killer ghost doctor Chao Ju.
Right now, he had already gathered a huge group of demonic Gu masters and was heading towards the Bronze Hall. Mo Wu Tian furrowed his brows. Most of the demonic path Gu masters had already gone with Chou Ju, and thus he was only able to gather a few people. Moreover, talking of influence, he was no match for Chou Ju. Mo Wu Tian was after all a newcomer, while Chou Ju was an old veteran who had roamed around southern border for many years and was also one of the 4 great doctors. Most of the people would have favors to ask of him, and he had some influence even in the righteous path. With no choice, Mo Wu Tian could only join with Chou Ju's group. With little brother Mo Wu Tian's help, these mere dog beasts are of no worry to us. Chou Ju welcomed Mo Wu Tian enthusiastically. Mo Wu Tian's brows furrowed deeply as he was used as a target board for Chou Ju. But never mind, if he endured this and helped out, they would be able to get to the main hall quicker. The huge crowd of demonic Gu masters looked majestic, but they did not immediately charge towards the main hall, but instead remained there. Sir Chou Ju, time doesn't wait for anyone. Why are we not charging in towards the hall? Mo Wu Tian's brows had furrowed into a knot as he urged. Chou Ju said with a chuckle, "More people means bigger strength. There are still many of our people that have not joined us. We need to absorb their strength to become even stronger. When we charge at that time, the pressure and danger each person faces will be much less." Mo Wu Tian urged again, but Chou Ju just chuckled and replied politely, not yielding the least bit. Mo Wu Tian started to feel anxious. He tried several more times, but Chou Ju remained firm. This old fool does not know the value of time. Mo Wu Tian repressed his anger and immediately contacted Hu Mei-er, Li Xian, and others to agitate and incite everyone, making them even more impatient. Chou Ju had no way to deal with it since he could not directly go against everyone's intent and could only lead a group of demonic Gu masters to arrive at the edge of the fog. Mo Wu Tian observed for a while and again made the strategy to divide the crowd in 3 groups and so on. Chou Ju, however, said it was not a good idea and that the fog was too dense to understand the actual situation. As a doctor, he had his morals as a healer. He could not bear to see everyone risking themselves and delivering themselves to death. Mo Wu Tian stomped his feet in anger and went to contact everyone and incite them with the allure of the immortal treasure. The demonic Gu master's mood was agitated. Chou Ju also took advantage of the situation to push the responsibility for this matter to Mo Wu Tian and chose the people who would charge forward. However, he put a condition that only those who were willing could go forward and they could not be forced. The demonic crowd readily agreed and moved towards the 3 paths according to Mo Wu Tian's arrangement. Not good, someone is attacking from outside. When the refinement was going on, the land spirit's voice suddenly arrived. "No need to worry, I have already anticipated this situation. Go take charge of the battle outside. I will stabilize the Gu refinement for the moment and wait for you to rotate with me." Fang Yuan's expression was calm. The land spirit divided most of its concentration in commanding the dog beasts according to Fang Yuan's instructions and beat back the demonic crowd just like in previous life. Mo Wu Tian was unresigned and again formed the 2nd assault group, but they still met with great losses and returned defeatedly. Chou Ju came forward at this moment. "Everyone knows my rule. I take 1 life for every life I save. Right now, I will treat everyone first and hope you all can fulfill the promise later." Finished speaking, he started healing everyone. The demonic crowd was moved to tears. Chou Ju's influence increased rapidly, and even more people left Mo Wu Tian to side with Chou Ju. Chou Ju patted Mo Wu Tian's shoulder and said in a kind voice, "Brother Wu Tian, do you see it now? I advised you earlier to not take the risk. Now so many of our comrades have lost their lives. It makes me so sad." His voice was quite loud, which caused Mo Wu Tian's eye to twitch, and his anger reached an extreme level. This old sinister fool, if I was successful in breaking through these beasts, it would be his contribution. And now that I failed, he is avoiding all the responsibility. Humph, I did underestimate these beasts. I had thought the formation was a weak one, and had never thought that there was a Gu master controlling them from behind. Such a fast adaptation speed and method. This person is definitely someone with deep attainment in enslavement path. Damn it, this is really hateful. Mo Wutian gritted his teeth but could do nothing. In the previous life, he was able to use force and threat to make the demonic Gu masters throw their lives. However, with rank 5 Chuju here now, he was not able to be so unrestrained. Let's wait. Righteous Path Gu masters will also soon gather together and we can discuss it with them. After all, we only have one life. In case we charge through and let the Righteous Path get the benefits, it would be really bad. Choju spoke his plan. Lord Killer Ghost Doctor is right. Lord Killer Ghost Doctor is indeed benevolent and cherishes the lives of us small characters. Doctors have their healer morals. Lord Killer Ghost Doctor is after all a senior of our demonic path. Mo Wutian gritted his teeth till they made cracking sounds. He really wished he could kill this old bastard. Like this, the time was delayed for a good while until the Righteous Path Gu masters gathered under the lead of Xiaomang. They charged through several times but also returned in defeat. Xiaomang was getting anxious while thinking of the unopened King Bao inheritance and again used his killer move. My will, Gu.
Bright Spear Gu.
Killer move, my glorious spear. A 1.8 meters long and 0.6 meters thick spear of light landed on the mound. An intense explosion occurred with shockwaves blowing away everything. After the dazzling light dispersed, the fog that covered the mound also dispersed. The bronze hall and the majestic dog beasts were revealed before everyone's eyes in their full glory. Righteous and demonic crowd felt their hearts thumping in excitement, but also turned cold at the scene. The immortal treasure was in front of them, but how could they charge through such an enormous dog-beast formation? It could only be done if the righteous and demonic allies, those with experience, all thought of this. Xiaomang looked at the demonic path's direction and Mo Wutian also glanced at the righteous path. It was clear they needed to ally, but they had to see which side would compromise first. Time passed by minutes and seconds. Choju calmly watched the dog beasts while Xiaomang's expression was solemn as he closed his eyes to recuperate. He was the young master of the Grand Xiao clan, a famous figure among the righteous path. How could he lower his head towards the demonic path first? If words spread later, his reputation would have a great hit. The second tremor has gone, Bagi. My secret chess piece has showed its use, and for a short time they won't attack. Let's continue the refinement. Fang Yuan summoned the land spirit. While the righteous and demonic path were in a stalemate, Fang Yuan once again resumed the refinement. At this moment, the blue smoke and the yellow light had finally blended with each other. The blue smoke turned into beads of grass that floated in the air and started growing. The yellow light turned into flowers that fluttered and fell into the grass. Fang Yuan took out a dagger and cut his artery, bleeding out his own essence blood. Large amounts of essence blood infused into smoke. The blue smoke and yellow light immediately let out sizzling sounds and turned into a red cloud, like a wave of blood sea. The blood surged and turned into a sphere that floated in the air without spreading. After a round of evolution, the smoke sphere settled down and formed a field with abundant red wheat growing in it. Fang Yuan let out a breath of turbid air when he saw this. He had lost a lot of blood, which caused his face to pale. He immediately used a gu to heal his wound. Wild grass grow wildly, the chi of blood like the sea. 300 years as spring, 500 years as autumn. He took out a lifespan, gu. This was a 300 years lifespan gu, which looked like roots with rough texture, like a snake that was coiled into a circle. Fang Yuan threw it into the smoke and blood field. The cloud of smoke immediate started raging like boiling water. In previous life, this strange change had nearly caused Fang Yuan to fail. Now, however, Fang Yuan was mentally prepared and easily controlled the situation. Under his control, the cloud of smoke gradually settled down. However, right at this time, the land spirit suddenly warned, "Not good. Those Gu masters have started attacking together. There might not be time to refine Gu. No need to worry. Everything is under my control." Fang Yuan coldly smiled and took out the second lifespan Gu. Chapter 403 minus Baining Bing. Have you acted enough? Kilo. Charge through, kill these goddamn dogs. Shouting, screaming, shrieking, cursing, dog barking, all these sounds merged into one, causing the ground to tremble. The attack had just begun for 10 minutes, but the mound was already overflowing with blood and corpses. Sir Chu-ju, we are slow with this kind of pace. When will we ever get into the Bronze Hall? Mo Wu-tian urged. Cho-ju snickered. The dog groups are huge. Is it that easy to get through? It is better that we are slow. The righteous path will take on more pressure for us. We can benefit from the chaos better. Cho-ju was already Fang Yuan's slave. His greatest wish is to continue stalling for time. Earlier, the righteous and demonic factions were at a stalemate, but this Mo Wu-tian had to ruin it by finding Xiao Mang to cooperate. Cho-ju could not stop him. He could only go with the flow. After starting the assault, he tried his best to slow them down. They had planned to attack from 2 directions, but because of Killer Ghost Doctor's manipulation, it caused the righteous faction to be further in the advancement, thus taking more hits. Meanwhile, the demonic path had less losses, but the assault's momentum was slowly. They were in danger of being surrounded. Chu-ju, what are you thinking of? You are too muddled. We have to charge with vigor. How can we move so slowly? You are old and confused, can't you see? Our group is already in deep trouble. Once our movement stops, we will be surrounded. We will be in greater danger than the righteous path. Mo Wu-tian was stomping his feet in anger, shouting. Cho-ju stared with his eyes wide open, shouting back, Mo Wu-tian, you junior, why are you screaming for nothing? What do you know? Doing it your way. How many people did we lose earlier? Later, when we compete with the righteous faction for the immortal treasure, they will be our enemy. We have to weaken them. Saying so, Cho-ju's tone changed, consoling softly. Oh, young man, it is not wise to charge ahead recklessly. Because of what happened earlier, the majority of the demonic Gu masters supported Chu-juo and objected to Mo Wu-tian. Mo Wu-tian's heart was furious as he raised his head and screamed, Old fool Chao-ju, we have different opinions. You all can wait here and die. I'm going to get my immortal treasure. Saying so, he moved ahead and charged towards the Bronze Hall. Hu Mei-er, Li Xian, and the others felt that Mo Wu-tian was right. They wanted to go ahead, but their strength was insufficient. They could only go with the crowd. Youngsters are so rash. Cho-ju sighed, then laughed. Look, after being psyched by me, he is taking on the pressure for us. We will steadily move ahead, using the road that he paved for us. Perfect. Everyone laughed, praising Chao-ju's brilliance. Countless dogs formed into a wave, as thousands of Gu masters resisted them. Blood flowed and broken limbs flew. All sorts of Gu worms competed like the dance of fire and ice. Lightning exploded and soil was overturned. Green vines grew endlessly. Yi Chong's body was covered in blue fish scales, black fins growing on his back with a light blue spiral wave around him. He seemed to have become a fearsome shark in the sea, charging ahead fearlessly. Yi Huo turned into the god of fire, charging ahead as he slaughtered. Everywhere he went, there was blazing flames and crying dogs. Yan Jun used the phantom path Gu worm, turning into a hollow shadow as he evaded attacks again and again, safe and sound. Li Xian used his rank 5 Gu and concealed his body while people were not noticing. Kong Ri Tian turning into a rain of petals, floating in the sky. The experts displayed all their abilities, getting close to the Bronze Hall. Among them, 2 were at the front lines and were the most prominent. It was none other than Xiao Mang and Mo Wu-tian. But good times did not last. Ba Huang and Ying Ming, the 2 dog emperors, appeared, blocking their advancement like last time. It is time. At the front lines, Tai Ruonan was bathed in blood as she stopped her footsteps, resting as she breathed heavily. Tai Clan's 4 old-timers were guarding by her side. Other than that, there was Tai Bai-chi. We are a few thousand steps from the Bronze Hall. There are many dogs here. It is up to you, Lord Tai Bai-chi. Tai Ruonan said, He, I have been watching the whole time. My hands are itching already. Tai Bai-chi took off his hat, showing off the 3rd eye on his forehead. Phew! He activated his Gu worm, pushing the space before him with both hands, forming a black hole. The black hole continued to spin as numerous white apes jumped out. The white ape army gushed out, forming into a strong formation as it charged towards the bronze hall. Young master, go ahead. I will block them here. T.I. Baiki's tone was confident and powerful. We'll be counting on you. The immortal Gu is most important. For the clan, we have to arrest Fang Yuan alive. Tai Ruonan gritted her teeth, waving her hand and bringing the Tai clan 4 old-timers and starting their invasion. With the white ape army to cover for them and sacrifice, Tai Ruonan successfully made it into the hall. Fang Yuan was still refining Gu. He could not do anything else. Lan's spirit wanted to strike, but Fang Yuan stopped it. Ba Gi, don't force yourself. You have to control the dog groups while manipulating the immortal essence to assist me in refining Gu. How can you be further distracted? Bai Ningbing, it will be up to you now. Go block her. Bai Ningbing snorted coldly, squinting her eyes as he blocked Tai Ruonan, engaging in fierce combat. In the space before Fang Yuan, cloud smoke was moving violently. In his previous life, he had already used Third Watch Gu by this time. But now, without Fang Tianyu's help, Fang Yuan's progress was extremely slow. He had just thrown in the 500-year lifespan, Gu. Without the refinement master Fang Tianyu, Fang Yuan felt difficulty controlling the cloud smoke. The cloud smoke reacted violently, causing Fang Yuan to almost fail several times, but he managed to salvage it every time. Behind him, as Ti and Bai fought, Tai clan's 4 old-timers joined in. Bai Ningbing could not rival them, as she fell into a disadvantage, shouting, Fang Zheng, I can't hold them back anymore. How long more do you need? The cloud smoke had finally absorbed the lifespan Gu, turning into the blood fields, golden wheat filled with crops. It was the 500 years as autumn scene. Fang Yuan's voice was nervous. Hang in there. I need a lot of time. If I die, you will not live too. Bai Ningbing cursed continuously. Several moves later, Bai Ningbing gasped roughly. I can't continue. Fang Yuan, I'm going to self-destruct. Your aptitude has already returned to 100%. Fang Yuan was startled. What do you think? Bai Ningbing cursed. The cloud smoke was slowly maturing, dissipating. From a water tank size, it shrunk to a basin size. Try to hold on unless you can't control it anymore, don't? Fang Yuan shouted. It is too late. Bai Ningbing sighed deeply. Crack, crack. Frost quickly gathered as the cold aura spread everywhere in the main hall and the temperature decreased rapidly. What Gu is this? Tai Ruonan's cry of surprise also reached Fang Yuan's ears. Fang Yuan turned his head with difficulty to look and saw the main hall already becoming a world of ice and snow. Bai Ningbing was floating high up in the air, her whole body turning into ice crystal, similar to the situation when she had self-destructed back at Qingmao Mountain. The cold wind blustered and glacier rose, crushing towards Tai Ruonan with vast and majestic force. Is this the legendary Northern Dark Ice Soul physique? Tai Ruonan cried out in surprise. But it was already too late. She was sealed within the ice like an insect in an amber. The ice continued spreading towards Fang Yuan. Bai Ningbing, Bai Ningbing. Fang Yuan worriedly shouted, but there was no response from Bai Ningbing. Her body had almost become one with ice, and her whole face had started turning indistinct. Her crystal-like eyes no longer shone and had thoroughly dimmed. Damn it. Fang Yuan cursed, standing up and sending the Yang Gu towards Bai Ningbing. But halfway, the Yang Gu made a U-turn and returned to Fang Yuan's right hand. At the same time, the cloud smoke turned into a Gu worm, landing on Fang Yuan's left hand. This Gu was like a peanut shell, golden and dazzling. The markings on the surface resembles bright red blood traces. Earlier, the fake second aperture Gu could only live for a week and was not stable, but this new Gu could survive for 40 years. Hee. Fang Yuan raised his head and laughed, using liquid metal Gu and blocking the frost. Then he said to Bai Ningbing, Bai Ningbing, have you acted enough? The frost came to a stop. Fang Yuan laughed again, saying, Did you have a good time cooperating with T-Clan? This time, Bai Ningbing could not longer act. She turned back into flesh body and stared at Fang Yuan with a shocked and solemn suspicion. How did you? In Shang Clan City, you purposely lost to Yan Tu, getting Dr. Su Xiao's help to remove the poison vow, and then secretly contacted Ti Ruo Nan. On Xianxia Mountain, you plotted together with the 4 old-timers. All these did you think I was ignorant? Fang Yuan played with the 2 gu in his hands as he said. Bai Ningbing landed on the ground with a dazed expression, stunned beyond words. How did Fang Yuan find out all these? I was extremely secretive. This means he was always watching coldly at my performance. Wait, I succeeded in planting the fixed star gu though. Fang Yuan, you demon, so what if you found out? You can't escape today. There's nowhere to run. Tai Ruo Nan saw that the matter was exposed and quickly broke out of the ice as the 4 old-timers joined her. Fang Yuan chuckled, raising his left arm. You mean the fixed star gu? What if I chop off my arm? Tai Clan's 4 old-timers frowned deeply. Once Fang Yuan chopped off his arm, even if they used their killer move, they would only get his arm. According to their understanding of Fang Yuan, sacrificing his left forearm was nothing to this cruel and wicked person. Ha 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 ha! Tai Ruo Nan suddenly laughed. She pointed at Fang Yuan, shouting, Fang Yuan, stop trying to deceive us. So what if you saw through our scheme? The dog group outside the hall cannot block the 2 factions. Soon, Xiao Mang, Chu Ju Mo Wu Tian, Yi Huo, Yi Chong, and the others would charge in. Can you defend the immortal Gu? You are a frenzied lunatic, killing so many Gu masters and plundering their apertures to refine Gu. These crimes are unforgivable. Bai Ningbing is the best witness. As long as we announce it to the world, you will be a wanted criminal everywhere. More importantly, your immortal Gu is not done refining yet. Do you still have a chance of succeeding? Impossible. You have no time left. Not long later, this hall will be overrun by people. Where can you run to? Try flying out. Hee, your only way out now is to surrender to our Tai clan and contribute that half-done immortal Gu to us, as well as surrender the old clan leader's Gu worms and enter the demon suppression tower for reform. That's the only way you can keep your life. Chapter 404. Refining Immortal Gu again. Tai Ruonan took a step forward and looked with a gaze that was sharp as a knife. Fang Yuan, you are a smart man. You should be clear of your situation. I am indeed clear of my situation. Fang Yuan's expression was tranquil, and I'm even more clear of your situation. His lips revealed a trace of cold smile. Immortal Gu refinement has indeed not finished, but this has let me preserve more portions of immortal essence, enough for me to kill you all. However, right at this time, Ba Gi appeared and spoke with a tearful expression. No use, it is no use. There will be too much loss in immortal essence to kill them, and the remaining amount won't be able to support the Gu refinement. Furthermore, it is late now. There are too many holes in the blessed land, and it will completely collapse and disperse into smoke not long later. Its biggest obsession was to complete the refinement of second aperture Gu. It did not even care about its own destruction. Right now, Fang Yuan had only refined to this stage, and the crucial step still remained, which was also the most difficult step, but the situation no longer allowed him to continue. Young man, you made a grave mistake in your calculations. Our immortal Gu refinement is a failure. The land spirit howled in grief. Refining immortal Gu, never expected it to be so lively here. Yan Jun calmly stepped into the main hall. In the previous life, he had been obstructed by Feng Tianyu, but now, with no obstructions, he walked freely into the bronze hall. Hehe, Fang Yuan, you are not the blessed land's master. Thus the land spirit will not completely obey your commands. Since young clan leader Yan Jun has arrived, the others also won't be far. Today your loss is certain. Tai Ruonan had some fear towards the land spirit and could only continue to engage in psychological battle. No, there is still hope. The Gu refinement can't be considered a failure. Fang Yuan suddenly smiled. He moved his gaze towards Bai Ningbing. Bai Ningbing's heart tightened. If Fang Yuan used Yang Gu to force her to fight to the death, what course of path should she take? However, Fang Yuan's gaze moved past Bai Ningbing and turned towards the land spirit, Ba Gi. This aged Ba Gi was looking awful right now after crying, appearing extremely broken-hearted. Ba Gi, do you still want to refine second aperture Gu or not? Fang Yuan transmitted his voice. Could it be that you have some way? Gu suddenly felt a trace of hope. That's right, you are a reborn Gu immortal, and with your previous life's experience, you should have expected this situation right. No, the situation is beyond my expectations. The current me is only a mortal, and I am unable to make a difference. Fang Yuan said frankly, Gu, I have failed you. The Gu refinement, this time, is indeed a failure. The land spirit started wailing even louder. However, Fang Yuan immediately changed the topic. But this failure is only temporary. We can still have hope. The land spirit's crying softened as it asked, What do you mean? After you die, I will be the only person who knows the recipe. The half-finished second aperture Gu is also with me. So Gu, you must protect me. Of course, I have to protect you. You are the only person who satisfied the requirements of the Blessed Land and are also a reborn Gu immortal. There is a huge chance of the refinement of the second aperture Gu succeeding in the future, even if it is a failure this time. The land spirit answered as a matter of fact. Good. It is great that you have this understanding. However, you can only protect me for a period, but not forever. Not long later, you will die. With the remaining immortal essence, we also cannot completely root out all the enemies in the Blessed Land. Even if you transport me to the outside world, there are many groups of Gu masters on Xianxia Mountain. The corner of Fang Yuan's lips curled into a sinister smile. Since the rebirth this time, everything was going smoothly. As he inched closer to success, he could not help but feel a trace of excitement. Then, how do you want me to protect you? The land spirit asked. Fang Yuan chuckled and said profoundly, Gu, do you remember the third section of the second chapter of the Legends of Ren Zhu? The land spirit was dazed as it guessed Fang Yuan's meaning. It said with hesitation, You are saying, No, that won't work. There are two conditions that are not fulfilled. First of all, you need the light of glory of the immemorial era. He. Fang Yuan laughed satisfiedly at this. He raised his hand and pointed to the top of the bronze hall and shouted, Look, the light is here. From the moment he stood up, he had inwardly asked the land spirit to share its vision. Thus, the situation outside was very clear to him. Afterward, the talk with the Tai clansmen and others were only delaying the time and waiting for a good opportunity. This was already the third time Fang Yuan had used Spring-Autumn Cicada, and by accumulating his experience, he had an even deeper understanding of rebirth. There was indeed a butterfly effect to the aftermath of rebirth that could cause some things to change completely. However, there was also historical inertia. Many great events that occurred were conflicts that accumulated over time. They only lacked a trigger point. Even without the original trigger, a new one would always appear. This was not something a person alone could influence and change easily. Outside the main hall, Xiaomeng was getting impatient fighting with Yingming and flew to the sky. Rank 4, Gather Light Gu. Rank 5, Extreme Light Gu. Rank 5, River Under the Sun Gu. Killer Move, Torrential Light Stream. The river of light rolled and crashed as it poured down towards the Blessed Land. The light was blinding, and the waves were fierce. It turned the entire battlefield white, and everyone closed their eyes, unable to resist such a strong light. Not good. Tai Ruonan and others were in the main hall. Tai Baiqi tried to stop it when he saw this, but the light river's formation was already complete, and he could only reduce its impact by a little. The Grand Light River was like a waterfall, crashing heavily on the bronze hall. The roof of the hall was immediately broken through, and the light waterfall flew towards Fang Yuan, the light of glory of the immemorial era. The land spirit cried out in shock. Fang Yuan laughed loudly and poured his primeval essence into rank 4 bone wings, Gu, and rank 5 liquid metal Gu. A pair of long and wide black wings spread out from his back, while the liquid metal covered his whole body like paint, spreading towards the black wings and dyeing his whole body with dazzling golden light. What is he doing? Fang Yuan? In Tai Ruonan, Bai Ningbing, and the others' astonished gazes, Fang Yuan flapped his wings and flew directly towards the river of light. Bomb! There was loud buzzing in his ears, and the formidable impact forced Fang Yuan backwards. However, he had killed many rank 5 Gu masters before and obtained many movement Gu like Golden Aurora Gu and so on. Right now, he activated them all and flew against the flow of the waterfall. flying higher and higher. When he flew out of the bronze hall, it immediately attracted countless gasps and doubts. What is that thing? It is flashing with golden light and looks like a large bird. No, that is a person, a warrior that has been soaked in molten gold. There was only a vast sea of whiteness in Fang Yuan's sight. His primeval essence was depleting rapidly by activating so many movement Gu and defensive Gu. Time and tide wait for no man. Land spirit help me divine travel Gu. Immortal Gu divine travel landed on his palm. Jade Sky Gu. A ray of green light shot out from his aperture and landed on his hand, turning into a jade green-colored bamboo that was hollow in the middle. What in the world is he trying to do? He actually faced the killer move head-on and flew up. Tai Ruonan stared with wide-open eyes, expressing her shock. Did Little Beast King give up and is trying to end his life? Yan Jun's jaws were wide open as he looked up in a daze. Something's up. I understand him. Everything Fang Yuan does has extremely deep meaning. No matter what, we can't let him have his way. We must disrupt this. Bai Ningbing's tone was hurried, and for some reason, the bad feeling in her heart continued to become stronger. Tai Ruonan nodded and agreed with Bai Ningbing's words. 4 old-timers! She shouted, understood. The 4 old-timers immediately moved separately towards east, south, west, and north directions. They kneeled on the ground and held their right wrist with their left hand. Their right hands were spread out in a claw form and faced each other. Killer move, infinite search, and lock. Almost at the same time, Fang Yuan's left arm shone with an eerie blue light. One could vaguely see the fixed star Gu on it. This Gu was a star fragment of the immemorial era. It was like an 8-sided diamond and was crystal clear. At the same time, all around Fang Yuan, space tore apart and 4 chains appeared, moving like pythons. Finally reacting at this point. Too late. Fang Yuan gave a cold smile. Divine Travel Gu suddenly flew and pierced into his left arm, swallowing the fixed star Gu. The 4 old-timers coughed out blood as they lost the connection with the fixed star Gu. The 4 chains moving beside Fang Yuan also lost their target and flew about carelessly before they were destroyed by the River of Light. After the divine travel, Gu ate fixed star Gu. It went into the hollow jade sky Gu and rapidly formed a cocoon. There is a strange person flying directly towards my killer move. Xiao Mang was indescribably shocked. Others often did not have enough time to dodge his killer move, but now there was actually a fool who was facing it head-on. Who is this guy? What is he trying to do? Yi Huo, Yi Chong, and the others stared at the sky with stupefied looks. Wait a second, this scene, where did I see it before? Li Xian frowned deeply. A ray of light flashed in his astute mind. How could this be? He seems to be. Refining Gu Feng Tianyu looked up for a while, and after seeing somewhat clearly, he immediately became shocked. He is actually refining Gu using the killer move. His courage knows no bounds. Mo Wu Tian's eyes shot out purple light that extended 2 inches into the air. That's right. Fang Yuan was refining Gu. This was Fang Yuan's plan. When he enslaved Killer Ghost Doctor, it was certain the second aperture Gu's refinement would fail, because at the last step of merging with Divine Travel Gu, Fang Yuan was not able to accomplish it by just himself. Previously, he had the help of Refinement Path Grandmaster Feng Tianyu and the assistance of the Land Spirit before he was able to barely finish it. Now he did not have Feng Tianyu's help, thus this step was destined to fail. However, after rebirth, Fang Yuan had never truly thought of refining second aperture Gu. He deceived the Land Spirit and intentionally delayed time to create such a special situation to convince the Land Spirit and refine this Gu, similar to the second aperture Gu. This Gu was also an immortal Gu whose recipe was recorded in Chapter 2, Section 3 of Lesmi Legends of Renzu. The Legends of Renzu was the first classic of the Gu world. It appeared to be a story when one first read it, but it actually held profound messages, recording the secrets of the ancient times and all kinds of Gu. Some Gu were directly described like wisdom Gu, strength Gu, and so on, while some Gu were hidden. Their descriptions were very vague, requiring the readers to dig through it and study carefully. Chapter 405, spreading my wings and flying away today, becoming an immortal and whipping the phoenix on another day. Duckle chapter. The light of glory of the immemorial era shone on the cocoon. Absorbing the glory of the immemorial era, the cocoon was undergoing a mystical change. Fang Yuan's body was shining in golden brilliance, swimming up against the flow of the torrential light stream. Facing the strong killer move of a rank 5 Gu master, liquid metal Gu's defense was starting to become useless. The golden protection was washed away by the light eventually. Especially the bone wings, it slowly revealed its original black color after being washed by the torrential light stream. In the grand waterfall of light, a lone body was flying with great difficulty while facing great pressure. Such a mystical sight naturally attracted many Gu masters' attention. The battlefield slowly turned silent. Land Spirit assisted Fang Yuan fully. After the dogs lost their master, they scattered. All the Gu masters stood on the spot, raising their heads and watching. In their hearts, they had one question. This scenario, I have obviously not seen it before, yet why do I find it so familiar? I remember now. Suddenly, someone shouted. This scene was recorded in the legends of Ren Zhu. That's why it is so familiar. The legends of Ren Zhu, the #1 classic in the world, spread throughout the world widely. No one was unfamiliar with it. Getting such a reminder, many people realized at once. That's right, this was recorded in Ren Zhu's 2nd chapter, 3rd section. I remember now. Verdant great sun flapped his wings and bathed in the light of glory, in order to refine fixed immortal travel Gu, flying towards the sun. People recalled, laughing immediately. What is this person doing? Copying verdant great sun and disregarding his life. Haha. Don't tell me he is thinking of refining fixed immortal travel Gu. How is that possible? He has divine travel Gu. Of course, Fang Yuan had it. But divine travel Gu was not enough. It was recorded in the legends of Ren Zhu. Verdant Great Sun was afraid that divine travel Gu would send him to dangerous places while he was drunk. Divine travel Gu was ashamed because of this, thus directing him, go up into the sky. And in the azure heaven among the 9 heavens, there is a bamboo forest. Inside the bamboo forest, pluck a jade bamboo that is jade sky in color. Next, go to blue heaven and during the night time collect the 8-sided diamonds inside the star fragments. Next, when it is dawn, fly into the sky and use the light of glory of the rising sun to turn me into fixed immortal travel Gu. Once I become that Gu, I will no longer send you to random places when you are drunk. Thus, Fang Yuan needed the jade sky-colored jade bamboo from azure heaven and an 8-sided diamond star fragment from blue heaven. And also the light of glory of the immemorial era. Did he have these? Not at first, but after rebirth, he killed Long Qing Tian and obtained Jade Sky Gu. This Gu was rank 5 and originated from the immemorial era. It was like a dark green bamboo stem, palm size and hollow in the middle, giving off a texture of jade on the surface. This was the azure heaven's jade bamboo. The legends of Ren Zhu described all sorts of Gu. Immortal Gu were described as they were, like wisdom Gu and strength Gu. Mortal Gu were written more obscurely. The readers needed to look into them and researched carefully. But the jade sky bamboo was not enough. He needed the 8-sided diamond star fragment. Did he have it? Of course not. But Bai Ningbing planted it on him. Indeed, the fixed star Gu. This Gu was a star fragment from the immemorial era, looking like a diamond with 8 sides. It was planted on Fang Yuan's left forearm, giving off starlight able to project a half-transparent eerie blue light from his arm. So now he had the jade sky bamboo and the 8-sided diamond star fragment. But to refine fixed immortal travel Gu, Fang Yuan needed one final condition. That is what the land spirit mentioned. The light of glory of the immemorial era. Did Fang Yuan have this? From start to end, he had never obtained it. But Xiao Meng had it. Xiao Meng controlled an extreme light Gu. This Gu was obtained by robbing graves. It was an incomplete Gu. It could only be used 3 times every month to unleash the light of glory. Once it exceeded 3 times, it would self-detonate. And torrential light stream was a killer move that in some aspects replicated the light of glory. Divine travel Gu, jade sky Gu, fixed star Gu, as well as the light of the immemorial era. All the conditions were fulfilled. When Fang Yuan rebirthed and realized this, he discarded the second aperture Gu in his heart, changing his objective to refining the fixed immortal travel Gu. But it was impossible to convince the land spirit. The land spirit's obsession was to refine second aperture Gu. Thus, Bai Ningbing, Tai Ruonan, and the righteous demonic factions became Fang Yuan's tools. He calculated meticulously in his heart, controlling the flow of events as he swayed them in his favor, causing this result. When the land spirit realized that no matter what, the second aperture Gu would not be refined successfully, it would change its goal to protecting Fang Yuan, as that is the only way hope remains. The cocoon absorbed the sunlight, trembling slightly as the aura of an immortal Gu leaked out uncontrollably. Everyone was flabbergasted. Such an aura! How is this possible? Tai Ruonan, Bai Ningbing, and the others were staring with their eyes popping out. He is refining Gu. He is really refining an immortal Gu. Who is he? Is he the reincarnation of verdant great sun? Yi Huo, Yi Chong, and the others were staring with their jaws dropping. Fixed immortal travel. Is he really refining fixed immortal travel Gu to think that I, Feng Tianyu, would get to see the birth of an immortal Gu? This refinement master kneeled on the ground emotionally, tears overflowing on his face. In the blessed land, the few remaining hairy men all kneeled down. This moment, they were idolizing this person refining an immortal Gu. Unbelievable. An event of the immemorial era was unfolding before them. An unimaginable grandness and beauty caused many Gu masters' bodies to shook. Was it excitement, fear, or both? At once, Fang Yuan's figure was the center of everyone's attention. No matter how glaring the torrential light stream was, everyone's eyes were wide open, staring without blinking. The immortal Gu's aura became more intense, but at this crucial moment, something happened. Trying to use my power to refine an immortal Gu. Himph! Xiao Mang was no fool. After realizing this, he immediately stopped his killer move. The torrential light stream ended. Everyone gasped loudly. No! Feng Tianyu screamed, his heart pained as he showed grief and despair. In his vision, the torrential light stream was like a cut ribbon flowing down weakly. With just 3 breaths' time, the Gu master in the light waterfall would be freed. Such a short time was not enough to birth an immortal Gu. But why would Fang Yuan not anticipate this? Third watch Gu. Third watch Gu. He activated 2 third watch Gu targeting the cocoon. At once, time accelerated by 9 times as the immortal Gu's aura surged. He used 2 time path Gu worms to accelerate time. Feng Tianyu got up like he was jolted with lightning, his eyes glowing as his face turned red. There was still hope. But immediately, his red face turned pale as Feng Tianyu plopped on the ground with a dejected expression, crying. It is useless. The acceleration is only a temporary measure. If the immortal Gu is created too quickly, it will not be able to stabilize its aura and will be destroyed through self-detonation. But was Fang Yuan ignorant about this? He took out a Gu worm. This Gu had a plain appearance, like a gray stone disc. In his previous life, he obtained it from Feng Tianyu. This time, he got it from killer ghost doctor Xiaoju. What Gu? Undefeated 100 battles. Undefeated 100 battles Gu. Rank 5 expenditure Gu. Once used, it allowed a Gu master's refinement to succeed for sure. The next moment, Feng Tianyu was stunned, grabbing his head and screaming in great joy. How can this be? Because he felt the immortal Gu's aura stabilizing like a miracle. The cocoon broke open and a green butterfly flew out. Fixed immortal travel, Gu. It truly is an immortal Gu. Beautiful beyond words. Who in the world is he? He actually refined an immortal Gu. At once, everyone's hearts were pounding. Regardless of whether they were aware or unaware of the circumstances, they were speechless and shocked to their limits. Xiao Mang was stupefied. Mo Wutian was in a daze. Is this the reenactment of a legend? What era am I living in? Fang Yuan flew out of the light waterfall. As fixed immortal travel, Gu flew around him. Each time it flapped its wings, green light flickered like pollen. It was a beautiful sight. Of course, Fang Yuan paid a huge price. A rank 5 killer move was not a joke. Liquid metal Gu died, golden aurora Gu, and the others were greatly damaged. The black wings on his back were torn and tattered. As the liquid metal faded, Fang Yuan's identity was revealed. At once, a commotion burst out. Who is he? Mo Wutian's pupils shrunk. It's him, Little Beast King. Hu Mei-er and Li Xian were shocked. It's him. Yi Huo's eyes were popping out. It is actually him. Zhao Huang and Ming too looked at each other, trembling, feeling each other's shock after fear and joy. They had the guts to assassinate such a strong foe, a man who can refine an immortal Gu. Fang Yuan, Bai Ningbing, Tai Ruonan, and the others who knew the situation witnessed this miracle with their own eyes, watching like a still statue. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, during the immemorial era, Verdant Great Sun flapped his wings, refining and fixed immortal travel Zhu Gu. But now, Fang Yuan was doing the same, using his mortal body to accomplish such a grand feat under everyone's observation. Once this matter spread, his name would be renowned throughout the continent, shocking the whole southern border. You really succeeded in refining fixed immortal travel Gu, incredible, as expected of a future Gu immortal. Fang Yuan could hear land spirits praise and sigh. Fang Yuan laughed heartily. Fixed immortal travel Gu can allow a Gu master to roam the world, going anywhere he wanted. But it is still an immortal Gu. Your help is needed to activate it using immortal essence. Bagi, of course, there is still some immortal essence left in the cauldron. Recall in your mind where you want to go. You should choose a safe place. Remember, the image in your head has to be the same as the real place. There cannot be too big of a difference. I understand that. Bagi sighed, speaking wholeheartedly. Using the fixed immortal travel would allow you to escape this predicament. But without immortal essence, the blessed land will be destroyed immediately.
Death is a relief for me.
I just wish you would succeed in refining second aperture Gu in the future, and do not waste this opportunity. Before we part, do you have anything to say to me? Fang Yuan opened his mouth, but no words came out. He moved his tattered black wings, flying in the sky and looking around. The torn bronze hall, the mound battlefield overflowing with blood, and the ruined Gu immortal blessed land. Goodbye, Bai Ningbing. Goodbye, Tai Ruonan. Goodbye, southern border. The land spirit did not know that Fang Yuan was about to take an even greater risk, but life was a gamble. If one did not gamble when they had the chance, when would they succeed? If man did not have aspirations as grand as heaven, they would be letting down their 8-feet body. Thinking like this, Fang Yuan felt great ambition and aspiration, his heart boiling with anticipation. Standing before everyone, he felt an urge and expressed it as a poem. The people present heard him recite. Since ancient times land immortal passed with the wind, today 3 kings return to eternal slumber. Who would not experience failure? Verdant Sun died regretfully. Start over again and proclaim oneself as king. The carp swims up the heavenly waterfall, traveling alone in the desolate lands and defying heaven. Spreading my wings and flying away today, becoming an immortal and whipping the phoenix on another day. As he said so, Fang Yuan laughed loudly. Everyone was speechless. Only the land spirit shouted, "Grand aspirations, I will send you on your journey." Immortal essence entered the fixed immortal travel Gu, and jade light flashed as Fang Yuan vanished from the air. Only his clothes were left floating in the air like a kite, with its strings cut. He vanished. He used the fixed immortal travel Gu. I wonder where he went. Why is heaven and earth shaking? Everyone was stunned. At this time, intense winds blew as mountains broke. The world was collapsing. Loopholes after loopholes were formed connecting to the outside world. Damn it! Escape quickly. The blessed land is collapsing. The winds of assimilation is coming. If we do not escape now, we will die. I do not want to die. The experts were frightened and shocked, frantically escaping as Xianxia Mountain went into chaos once again. Central continent Tianti Mountain, in Hu Immortal Blessed Land on Danghun Mountain. The battle for Hu Immortal Blessed Land was reaching its end. Fang Zheng, hang in there. Victory is within reach. Lord Sky Crane encouraged. The skin on Fang Zheng's arms and legs were torn as blood flowed down. He surpassed Ying Shengji Shaoqi Xing. His body was numb from pain and his brain was unable to think. There was only Dang Hun Mountain left in his mind. Being the first to ascend, he only had one thought left in his mind. I am the great Feng Jin Huang. How can I lose here? I have never lost since I was born. This time is no exception. Come out, dream wings. Feng Jin Huang shouted, and a beautiful pair of wings grew from her shoulders. This pair of wings was extremely elegant and beautiful. All sorts of lights shone on it. It was dazzling and alluring. With just one flap, Feng Jin Huang ascended easily. What? This is the legendary Immortal Gu, Dream Wings. The 9 Gu Immortals were shocked. Most Immortal Gu could only be used with immortal essence. But Dream's wings were different. It used the Gu Master's spirit and soul instead. Feng Jin Huang was only a mortal. Activating the Dream Wings forcefully would cause severe damage to her soul, amnesia at best, becoming retarded at worst. But Feng Jin Huang was competitive. She wanted victory, willing to pay any price. Under Fang Zheng's stunned gaze, she overtook him, taking back her head. The Dream Wings were folded back as Feng Jin Huang stood at the side of the cliff. Breathing heavily, she felt a strong dizziness from the depths of her soul, almost causing her to faint. She reached her limits. Forcefully activating an Immortal Gu, it was not easy for Feng Jin Huang to reach this step. I actually lost. Fang Zheng stared with wide-opened eyes, dejected and upset. Feng Jin Huang's arms were already at the edge of the peak. She was one step away. I am about to win. At this moment, Feng Jin Huang forced herself to raise her head, using the last bit of strength she had. Her eyes were glowing like amber, her beautiful appearance, and her snow-white long neck was shining like jade in the blessed land's pink light. She was like a young phoenix, expanding its wings for the first time, brilliant and glorious. At once, even Gu Immortals were dazed. Fang Zheng raised his head to look at her, as Hu Immortal Land Spirit stared at her in a daze. Everyone was waiting for Feng Jin Huang's victory. Feng Jin Huang did not let everyone down. She bit her lips, placing her arms at the edge of the cliff. Next, she used her remaining strength to drag her body up as well. But at this moment, swoosh! Jade light flashed, and a man appeared on the mountain peak. This man was completely naked. His left forearm had a hole as blood flowed out of it. His youthful body was strong and muscular, giving off the aura of a veteran expert who had undergone countless battles. Brother? Fang Zheng was shocked, slipping and falling down the cliff. The 10 Gu Immortals were shocked. Who is this naked man? Feng Jin Huang raised her snow-white neck, looking at Fang Yuan from his feet, stunned and watching with her eyes wide open like a statue. Fang Yuan's body was muscular. The giant monster on his lower body entered Feng Jin Huang's vision without any doubt. I really came here. Tisk, fixed immortal travel. Gu has such a weakness. It cannot transport clothes along with me. But thankfully, I placed my Gu worms inside my aperture and brought them along. Fang Yuan looked around, realizing his situation. Isn't this person below me Feng Jin Huang? It seems biography of Feng Jin Huang gave an accurate time. He was a step before her. This competition did not ban immortal Gu worms according to the rules. He was Hu Immortal Blessed Land's owner. I succeeded, all my risks paid off. So what if I failed to refine second aperture Gu? Now I have something better, the entire Hu Immortal Blessed Land and fixed immortal travel Gu. Ha 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 ha. Fang Yuan laughed crazily in his heart. Unfortunately, she has the immortal Gu dream wings. I can't kill her yet. Fang Yuan looked at Feng Jin Huang regretfully before raising his right foot. Under the 10 Gu Immortal's supervision, his right foot landed on Feng Jin Huang's face as a jade-like feeling could be felt on his feet. Scram. Fang Yuan pushed and kicked the weak and dazed Feng Jin Huang down. Feng Jin Huang was already out of strength. How could she resist Fang Yuan's kick? She immediately descended. Fang Yuan turned around, facing the land spirit. Little Hu Immortal, aren't you calling me you master? Ma? Master. The little girl stared at Fang Yuan, shocked. After she reacted, she used her small tender hands to cover her large crystal clear eyes. Next, she lowered her head, her face red with shame as she stomped her foot, shaking her head, saying meekly, "Master, aren't you shameful? You are so old already. Quickly wear some clothes." Chapter 406, Fang Yuan. 9 days later, atop of a lush green mountain valley, a small waterfall flowed downwards like a strip of silvery silk. The waterfall stream flowed into an ancient lake. The ancient lake was deep and dark jade in color, with ripples on the surface of the water. In the pond, all kinds of carp were swimming about. On the top of a white rock beside the water, Feng Jinhuang sat with her eyes closed. Her face, bright and beautiful, was reflected in the water, causing this ancient lake to gain a brilliant elegance. The colorful carps in the water, the clear pool water, the silvery waterfall, and the green valley all complemented each other. However, Feng Jinhuang's pretty brows were deeply scrunched. Although she has tried her best to calm down, every time she closed her eyes for more than 30 breaths, an image flashed in her mind from the depths of her heart. On an illustrious pink crystal mountain peak, a naked man looked down at her with his black, eerie pupils. She was sprawling on the edge of the cliff, and when she looked up, she saw everything on the man's body. His bleeding left arm with a bloody hole, his strong muscles, his broad chest, and the massive thing between his legs. The image was engraved into her heart. The memory was so vivid that the events of that day could never be forgotten by this proud woman, especially since afterwards the man stretched out his right foot and stepped on her face. Feng Jinhuang wanted to forget the feeling of being trampled on her face, yet the feeling was so vivid that she could clearly recall it even now. Forget it. Forget him. Keep a peace of mind. Peace of mind, calm down. Feng Jinhuang breathed more and more rapidly. Her breathing became heavier, and her chest moved rapidly as a result, and was becoming faster. In her heart, shame, humiliation, and hatred mixed together, turning into a volcano. How dare he? He dared to do that to me. Ah! Feng Jinhuang could not bear it anymore, and suddenly opened her phoenix eyes and stood up abruptly, raising her head and screaming. Boom! The volcano in her heart erupted, filling her chest with anger, almost melting her entire body. You are a despicable and shameless man. You dared to step on my face. I want to tear you to pieces. Feng Jinhuang roared, her eyes glowing with fire as she punched randomly. Bom, 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 bom. The loud smashing sound, like the sound of thunder, erupted continuously. Feng Jinhuang's eyes exuded fire. The beautiful flames evaporated the ancient lake and burnt the green hills around her. She punched without a target as her frenzied barrage sent the surrounding mountain rocks flying. As the ground cracked, after almost a few short breaths, Feng Jinhuang completely decimated the valley. Such terrifying battle strength. Even if 10 Fang Yuan attacked together, he could not reach such a power level. Ah ha ha! This scoundrel! I want rend your flesh limb by limb. I want to step on your bones and crush them into pieces. I'll make you suffer for 7 days and 7 nights. I swear, I'll make you to suffer endless pain. I want you to die and regret everything you have done to me. Then I'll turn you into ashes and scatter you into the wind. Feng Jinhuang bellowed without stopping, the anger in her chest making her lose all rationality. A few hundred miles away, there were grass cottages built on a mountain peak. Through the window of the cottage, a pair of beautiful eyes stared at Feng Jinhuang, looking worried. Oh, my little Feng! Inside the cottage, a beauty was dressed in white silk adorned with a green belt. She was dignified and elegant, bearing a resemblance to Feng Jinhuang. She was the biological mother of Feng Jinhuang. Fairy Bai Qing, a rank 6 Gu immortal. Stop looking. You have already watched her for 7 or 8 times during the last 10 minutes. The jade sea tide tea that I carefully brewed for you is getting cold by now. Go sit down and drink it. Feng Juji sat by her side, helplessly saying, Drink, drink, drink. All you care about is drinking tea. Is Feng Jinhuang even your daughter? As her father, aren't you worried at all? Bai Qing turned around, her brows were wrinkled and her tone was resentful.
Hi.
Our daughter, Feng Er, had always been competitive since she was a child. Her talent was excellent, and no one was her match in her sect, but suddenly she stumbled and lost. Gu immortal inheritance was the first failure of her life, but it is also the most important. You are her father, but you're actually still in the mood to drink tea here. Never mind the failure. What's more important is Fang Yuan suffered such a huge loss. She actually got trampled by someone. Think about it. Fang Yuan is proud and had never paid attention to any man her age. Yet she was beaten in such a way, with someone's foot on her face, and for the first time saw a similar aged man's body. The more Fairy Bai Qing talked, the more anxious she grew, and her eyes slowly turned red. Feng Jugi looked at her and immediately got up, getting to her side, holding her in his arms. He frantically comforted her. Don't cry, my Qinger. Isn't your husband still here? In fact, in my opinion, this event was not without benefits. Oh, what good is there? Bai Qing casted a doubtful gaze at him. Hi, Feng Yuan is our pride and joy. I'm proud of her, yet also worried. She's too competitive and always wants to get first place. Yes, her talent is higher than mine, and she also has great comprehension abilities. But so what if her talent is higher? Is it higher than all the heroes in the world? No matter how good her talent is, can it compare to desolate ancient moon? Feng Ju explained in earnest. The great desolate ancient moon, daughter of Renzu, failed countless times. Feng Yuan had always experienced success and victory, but had never understood the taste of failure. This is one of her defects and also her weakness. King Heir, you are a rank 6 Gu immortal, and I am a rank 7 Gu immortal, but even if it was a rank 9 immortal venerable or demon venerable, they can only live long, but not forever. We are able to protect Feng Yuan now, but one day we will leave her. By that time, she will only be able to rely on herself. Experiencing this failure will help her mature. Birds leave the nest and fly alone. After they withstand setbacks, they can train their wings and fight in the sky. In the future, when Feng Yuan leaves us, we can be relieved. Feng Yuan is my baby. I would love nothing more than to protect her inside the blessed land forever. Fairy Bai Qing leaned on Feng Jugi's chest as she wiped her tears. She sighed and said, Sigh, you are right. Feng Yuan will leave us one day. We should let her train more. But this is too much. She had lost too much this time. Gu immortal inheritance was lost. She was even bullied by that immortal crane sect lad. Are you, as her father, not going to do anything about it? Feng Ju snorted, squinting as his eyes shone with a cold light. Immortal crane sect went too far indeed, even though they had promised to compensate us and the other 8 major sects. But Feng Yuan is my daughter. How she can experience such bullying? I have already written a letter, and it has been sent to them. If this he Feng Yang does not know what's good for him, I will go to their sect to find him and settle the score. Fairy Bai Qing's heart eased. It turns out that her husband had already acted. But immediately, Bai Qing was nervous and looked at her husband. Husband, don't be rash. Don't make a huge commotion. Back when you attacked the top 10 sects, Immortal Crane sect was also one of the victims. They know that you're the strongest, but don't do this kind of thing again. I know. Haha, you can be at ease. Feng Ju calmed his wife lying in his arms, his eyes subconsciously squinting as he snorted in his heart. Out of the top 10 sects in Central Continent now, none are worthy of facing off against me. South of the Central Continent, 30,000 feet above the mountains. In the sky, Fei He Mountain was floating among a sea of clouds, looking magnificent and grand. Trees were swaying on the mountain as 10,000 cranes flew by, giving off a living atmosphere of an immortal's residence. Currently, in Shangqing Pavilion at the top of the mountain, it was a heavy and grim atmosphere. Feng Jugi has gone too far. The Supreme First Elder was staring furiously, his hands clutching a thin letter as he trembled with anger. With a bang, he slammed the letter on the white jade stone table. In the letter, Feng Jugi listed several overbearing demands. But despite so, Supreme First Elder did not dare to destroy or burn this letter. This letter was shining with an azure green color. It was the transformation of the rank 5-letter Sending Green Bird Gu. Once destroyed, Feng Jugi would sense it. If he became furious, the situation would become troublesome. This guy, Feng Jugi, was born into the demonic path. In the past, he obtained a rare opportunity and cultivated painstakingly, soundlessly, reaching rank 6 Gu Immortal Realm. Once he came out, he amazed the world as he challenged all the heroes in the world, and no one could stop him. The 10 sects sent people to challenge him, but they all lost terribly, forced to join forces to resist him. Fang Yuan was not afraid, fighting as he traveled for over 10 million miles, suddenly changing his tactic and going for the yellow dragon, causing the 10 sects to lose miserably. The scene was total chaos, and there was nothing anyone could do. Fortunately, Fairy Bai Qing from Spirit Affinity House moved him with true love, finally reforming this demonic head. Back in the day, Feng Juji used his rank 6 cultivation and caused a commotion among the 10 sects. It was unimaginable. Now, he has rank 7 cultivation and has Spirit Affinity House, one of the 10 sects backing him. This person has the demeanor of a heavenly immortal. Although his requests are slightly overbearing, we can agree to it. Supreme Second Elder took out the letter, reading it and said with a calm tone, "He Feng Yang, how can there be such a huge mistake in this matter you were in charge of? That Fang Yuan is not our disciple at all. What motives do you have defending him like this?" A thunderous voice echoed in Xianxia Pavilion, causing the windows to vibrate. The person speaking was Lei Tan, rank 6 Gu Immortal, and was at loggerheads with He Feng Yang. Places with people have conflict. Immortal Crane Sect also has their conflicts and competition among factions. At once, all the gazes fell on He Feng Yang. He Feng Yang was like a young man, gentle like jade. A pair of jade-colored brows extended to his waist. His expression was calm, looking around slowly, then laughed and said, "This Fang Yuan is indeed not our disciple, but his brother Fang Zheng is one of us, the leader of the elite disciples of this generation." Lei Tan snickered. "A tiny elite disciple's relative. He is worth our backing, the entire Immortal Crane Sect." He Feng Yang, do you know how much compensation we will have to give to the 9 sects for this Fang Yuan? Of course I know. He Feng Yang glanced at Lei Tan, laughing in disdain. But these things, even if you multiply it by 3, can't compare to a Hu Immortal Blessed Land, not to mention a fixed immortal travel Gu. At once, many of the Supreme Elders understood. He Feng Yang, what are you trying to say? Lei Tan frowned, asking impatiently. Chapter 407 Municipal Crane Sect's Objective. He Feng Yang only smiled without replying Lei Tan's question. It was Supreme Third Elder who laughed and replied, "I understand Elder Feng Yang's intention. If we didn't choose to shield this Fang Yuan, Hu Immortal Blessed Land would still be up for grabs for the 10 sects. However, by admitting that Fang Yuan is a member of our Immortal Crane Sect, we have eliminated the other 9 opponents, letting only our Immortal Crane Sect seize control of this blessed land." Lei Tan's gaze flickered and his expression slightly changed, but he no longer asked any questions. At this moment, He Feng Yang stood up from his seat. He first cupped his fists towards Supreme Third Elder, who explaining the reason. Third Elder is wise. Things happened too suddenly. Who could have thought a mortal would use the Immortal Gu fixed immortal travel to appear the peak of Danghun Mountain and inherit Hu Immortal Blessed Land in front of everyone? This Hu Immortal inheritance is at Tianti Mountain. Everyone might know Tianti Mountain is the stairs that connects to the Heavenly Court. Even though it was destroyed and had been abandoned for many years, it still represents the might of the Heavenly Court. In a way, attacking Hu Immortal Blessed Land is attacking TNT Mountain, and attacking TNT Mountain is attacking the Heavenly Court. Thus, although there are many blessed lands on TNT Mountain, there has never been anyone who had the courage to attack it. Even this time, we waited for Hu Immortal Blessed Land to open before we 10 Gu Immortals joined forces to enlarge the passage with no intention of attacking. Even if we really attacked Hu Immortal Blessed Land, the Blessed Land has a land spirit which would require at least 3 rank 6 Gu Immortals to join hands, and even then they might not succeed. Moreover, the control area of the Blessed Land is being protected by Danghun Mountain. Without 5 or 6 Gu Immortals cooperating earnestly, who would dare to say they can climb to the peak? Lei Tan, can you? Lei Tan snorted. He wanted to retort but kept quiet in the end. In blessed lands, the land spirit could freely mobilize all the resources, and their battle prowess could be compared to a Gu immortal. The most important thing was that the land spirit could suppress rank 1 to rank 5 Gu worms. If a Gu immortal wanted to attack the blessed land, their most powerful weapon would be immortal Gu, because land spirits could not restrict immortal Gu. However, immortal Gu were hard to find, and many Gu immortals did not even have one immortal Gu. Even if they had, it might not necessarily be suited to attack. This was the classic situation of low offense but high defense. If they were set on attacking the blessed land, it would often require the cooperation of several Gu immortals to create a numerical advantage and then competing through the expenditure of immortal essence. Once the blessed land's immortal essence was exhausted, they could start their attack. However, in truth, unless it was some special situation, Gu immortals rarely attacked blessed lands, because it was really not worth it. Not only was immortal essence precious and hard to accumulate, there was also the danger of the blessed land self-destructing. In the case where the land spirit could not defend and chose to destroy the blessed land, the winds of assimilation would blow over and destroy everything, causing the attackers to have no gains. When Gu immortals attacked blessed lands, they would often gain nothing and instead suffer heavy losses. Unless it was a matter of deep hatred, nobody would agree to do such a transaction that only created loss. Seeing that Lei Tan was keeping quiet, Fang Yang continued that Fang Yuan ascended to the peak and got the inheritance, immediately commanding the land spirit to close the blessed land. Fang Yuan and Fang Zheng looks almost the same. The Gu immortals of the other 9 sects realized this and subconsciously thought this was our immortal crane sect's hidden move and questioned me one after another. At that time, I thought that if I were to say the truth, the Hu immortal inheritance's belonging would be undecided once again, as the 10 sects would still compete and fight over it. Thus, I acknowledged it, and even if we had to pay such a price for it, we have eliminated the other 9 great sects from the competition. Like this, we can secretly strategize about Hu immortal blessed land without worrying about other forces. Feng Yang explained the whole story. Lei Tan snorted and asked, "There's a big problem in this plan. Hu immortal blessed land is on Tian Ti Mountain and is also closed now without attacking and creating a loophole. How can we enter?" Feng Yang laughed. It seems he already predicted this. How could I not have any plans? Blessed lands face calamities and tribulations. Hu immortal died during the 5th earthly calamity. I have already calculated the time Hu immortal blessed land will face the 6th earthly calamity in a year and 3 months' time. Fang Yuan is only a mortal. How could he know how to resist the earthly calamity? Even with the help of the land spirit, without a sect's support, the blessed land will suffer heavy damage at that time, and a loophole will appear. Lei Tan scoffed. "Even if there is a loophole, do you dare to attack? Didn't you say just before that Hu immortal inheritance is on TNTI Mountain?" Feng Yang instantly replied, "Forcefully attacking is a terrible move, and we will only use it if all else fails. That Fang Yuan is only a mortal. As long as a loophole appears and we use some plans and schemes, is there a worry of failing to capture him? Once the earth calamity passes, he will definitely start worrying and thirst for external help. I have already planned it. First we use Fang Zheng and use the kinship to move and persuade him into cooperating for some transactions. As we make more transactions, his guard against us will naturally loosen, and using logic to persuade him, we might just convince him to join Immortal Crane Sect. If he keeps on being stubborn, we can use some secret methods. Slavery Gu is one good method. There aren't many ways to deal with the land spirit, but there are plenty of ways to deal with a mortal like him. If we can obtain fixed immortal travel Gu like this, then it is no doubt the perfect outcome. The elders present felt a rush of excitement at the mention of fixed immortal travel Gu. Many began to whisper and discuss with each other. The outcome Feng Yang portrayed was truly beautiful. Most importantly, his plan had a chance of success. Lei Tan could feel the change in the atmosphere as he sat down in anger. "You speak nice words. Let's hope it goes our way." Supreme Third Elder mumbled, "Besides special Gu like dream wings, Gu that needs to be activated using the soul, most of the other immortal Gu need immortal essence to activate, and this fixed immortal travel Gu is not an exception. This Fang Yuan has fixed immortal travel Gu, and with the help of land spirit to use the blessed land's immortal essence, he can escape any time he wishes. We need to be very careful to deal with him. Furthermore, there is one point to note. He is but a mortal, yet he possesses an immortal Gu. He should have a rather deep background. He Feng Yang nodded. Junior has already thought of this point. Back then, when I claimed Fang Yuan was our sect's disciple, I checked the reactions of the other 9 sects. It seems that not one of the Central Continent's 9 sects are behind him. I am guessing since Fang Yuan came from Southern Border, he is very likely to have a super clan of Southern Border behind him. But be it Wu clan, Shang clan, Ti clan, Yi clan, or other super clans, they are all situated far at Southern Border and cannot help him here. If they were to enter Central Continent, their battle strength would be suppressed. Our Immortal Crane sect is one of the 10 great sects of Central Continent. We have a huge chance of winning against them. All the elders nodded at these words and started another round of soft discussions. Indeed, a mighty dragon cannot suppress the local snake. Central Continent is our Immortal Crane sect's territory. If they were to make a move, even if their battle prowess was not suppressed, our Immortal Crane sect is still stronger than any supergroups of the 4 other regions by a mile. Third elder's furrowed brows relaxed. There is one doubt remaining. To use fixed immortal travel Gu, the user needs to have a vivid memory and clear understanding of the terrain he teleports to. Fang Yuan is only a mortal from the faraway Southern Border. How could he know the scenery in Hu Immortal Blessed Land? And how could his timing be so precise? Could it be Hu Immortal had once set an inheritance in Southern Border? Or it could be one of the tricks of Tian Ti Mountain's demonic path Gu Immortals. He Feng Yang bowed. Junior is also not clear about this. This matter is strange. Originally, there was only a clue about the Blood Sea inheritance. At that time, one of our sect disciples defected and fled to Southern Border. A few years ago, I sent Lord Sky Crane to Southern Border to clean up and trash and bring back the inheritance. But Lord Sky Crane failed, and instead, it was Fang Yuan who obtained the inheritance, gaining Blood Skull Gu. This kid is very ruthless and sinister, unexpectedly killing all his clansmen on the spot and used Blood Skull Gu to raise his aptitude. Lord Sky Crane was unresigned and brought back Fang Zheng for future plans to retrieve the Gu. He Feng Yang naturally had never have expected a nobody to so outrageously disrupt his plan back then, causing such a huge problem for him. This was a weird feeling. It was as if person was walking on the road when suddenly a small ant jumped on their nose and started scratching it. Where did this ant come from? Such guts. The person could just crush it with their finger, but because of the peculiar situation, they were not able to catch the ant and could only let this ant feel triumphant for the time being. Not this Blood Sea inheritance again. Hearing He Feng Yang narrate the whole story, the elders present frowned. Their heart turned irritated. Blood Sea inheritance came from a big shot of the demonic path, Blood Sea ancestor. He killed people like cutting grass, and his infamy had gone down in history. With the might of a rank 7 Gu Immortal, he had unexpectedly set up hundreds of thousands of inheritance sites that spread over Central Continent, Southern Border, Northern Plains, Western Desert, and Eastern Sea. Before his death, he had laughed and proclaimed, "Blood Path is not lonely. My mark will remain for all eternity." Now, just like he proclaimed, countless mortals had benefited. Blood Sea inheritance was already proclaimed as the most popular inheritance with the greatest number in the world. There was no competition. Countless righteous path figures were getting headaches because of it. Didn't that Shu Tu, who was only a butcher, become a famous demonic cultivator after obtaining Blood Sea inheritance? Years ago, Myriad Dragon Doc's song Zi Xing obtained one of the true Blood Sea inheritances and defected his sect, causing great humiliation to our 10 great sects. Now he is already a rank 7 Gu Immortal with the title Blood Dragon. To kill this defector and wipe away their humiliation, Myriad Dragon Doc dispatched 8 Gu Immortals, 5 rank 6 and 3 rank 7. The result was he killed 4 of them, crippled 3 of them, and beat 1 into retreating. It is said that Blood Sea has 9 true inheritances. They are Blood Skull Gu, Blood Handprint Gu, Blood Chi Gu, Blood Sweat Gu, Menses Blood Gu, Blood Shadow Gu, Blood Battle Gu, as well as the ancient desolate beast Violent Blood Dragon Bat, and finally, the rank 6 Immortal Gu Blood Deity. He was truly someone who achieved great success in Blood Path. Speaking of which, 4 true inheritances of the Blood Sea ancestor had already shown up. One is Blood Skull Gu, which is with Fang Yuan. Another is Blood Handprint Gu, which is with Southern Border's current Shang clan leader. Violent Blood Dragon Bat is with Song Zixing. It is said that Shang clan leader has already obtained the second Blood Sea inheritance. That is only an unconfirmed rumor. There is no evidence to conclude it. The elders whispered to one another. All right, there is no need to talk about Blood Sea true inheritance. It is like searching for a needle in a haystack. All kinds of rumors are increasing day by day. My ears are already getting callous from hearing them. Supreme Grand Elder waved his hand and immediately put a stop to the discussion. He turned his gaze towards He Feng Yang. Elder He Feng Yang, since you brought up this method, then you shall be in charge of it. If you are able to seize the blessed land and establish your merit, the sect will not be stingy in rewarding you. Junior understands. He Feng Yang accepted the order with a smile. Seeing He Feng Yang gain such a lucrative task, Lei Tan felt stifled, but since it was Supreme Grand Elder who said so, he could only hide his hatred inside. However, Supreme Grand Elder added, since you are in charge of it, then Elder Feng Yang, you should hand over your one's own way Gu, right? In Feng Jugi's demand, he had asked for an immortal Gu. You are the person in charge of this matter, so you should be the one to settle this. Lei Tan was immediately joyous. He Feng Yang could only accept the order with a bitter smile. Chapter 408, Fang Yuan regains consciousness. Fang Yuan slowly opened his eyes. All he saw before him was a blur pink color. As his vision gradually returned, he saw a thin silk curtain. A light wind blew, the chimes rang. The light pink curtain slowly swayed, making it feel like a dream or illusion. Fang Yuan slowly got up from his bed. This round bed was extremely large, 40 to 50 people could fit on it. A silk blanket that was red on the bottom with golden rims was covering his body. Fang Yuan looked around and found himself in a large bedroom. There was a stove beside the bed, burning some incense. There was a fragrance that arouses people's feelings in the air. This room was made with golden brick walls. Silver bricks were used on the ground. Beside the bed, the corners of the room, tables and chairs, dressing table, all of them had large amounts of pearls, agate, diamonds, and all sorts of precious gems. The room was grand and elegant, luxurious and glorious. The affluence of the previous owner was emanating in the room. This was Hu Immortal's Dang Hun Palace. It is a gentle home. Fang Yuan commented lightly, getting down from his bed. His body shook uncontrollably as his brain was still dizzy. Fang Yuan did not find it strange. Instead, he understood clearly. This was because he had forced himself too much back on Xianxia Mountain. Binding Bing's betrayal, the pressure from the two factions, and he even had to scheme against the land spirit. First refining second aperture, then refine the fixed immortal travel, Gu, in the torrential light stream. The entire process was accompanied by the mental pressure of taking a risky gamble. To Fang Yuan, be it his body or mind, they had reached their limits. When he used the fixed immortal travel Gu to arrive at Dang Hun Mountain, Feng Jin Wing and Fang Zheng were at their limits, but so was he. Compared to them, Fang Yuan's mental pressure was greater. Spring-autumn cicada could no longer be used, and he had snatched the Wu Immortal inheritance right in front of the 10 sects Gu Immortals. He was trying to pull the teeth out of a tiger, like playing with fire. It was an extremely dangerous move. Fang Yuan was the first to ascend the mountain, and the land spirit chased the other competitors away. After Fang Yuan officially became the blessed land's owner, he ordered the land spirit to close the entire blessed land. After instructing the land spirit with a few key points, Fang Yuan relaxed at a safe area, falling asleep instantly. Just how long did I sleep? Fang Yuan shook his head. He still felt extremely tired. There was a sense of weakness coming from his soul. At the same time, his ears were buzzing, as his brain could not think as quickly as normal. It was difficult to process questions in his head. Oh no, I injured my soul. Fang Yuan's heart sank, sensing his condition was not looking good. The main reason was because of the immortal Gu refinement. were immortal Gu so easily to refine? Many Gu immortals would suffer a backlash when making a mistake while attempting to do so, injured at best, death at worst. Fang Yuan used a mortal's body to refine an immortal Gu. The main reason was because the recipe was good, originating from Renzu's tales. Secondly, the materials used were appropriate, focused on the divine travel Gu. Looking from another angle, it was simply converting divine travel Gu into fixed immortal travel Gu. It was not like in Fang Yuan's previous life, where he used a large number of mortal Gu to refine the immortal Gu spring-autumn cicada. Turning from mortal to immortal, the difficulty was 100-fold. Even so, the foundation of my soul was too weak and got injured. But thankfully, this is Dang Hun Mountain. Thinking so, Fang Yuan's expression turned solemn as he said lightly, "Where is the land spirit?" Swoosh! Hu immortal land spirit appeared before him. "Master, you are finally awake." Hu immortal lowered her head. Her face was red as she looked at her feet, speaking in a meek tone. She had the appearance of a 5 to 6-year-old girl. She was cute and young, with a colorful dress and a snow-white fox tail behind her, swaying to express her unease. "Master, when you were sleeping, I acted on my own accord and healed the injury on your left arm. I wanted to bring you clothes, but what we have here are not your size." Hu immortal land spirit reported. The clothes she mentioned was Hu immortal's clothing. They were women's clothing. Of course, Fang Yuan could not fit in them. Fang Yuan frowned. "Clothing is not important. How long have I slept?" During this period, did any strong enemies attack the blessed land? Hu immortal's eyes were large and shining, blinking. "Master, during the 7 days you were asleep, nobody attacked." Oh, Fang Yuan's eyes shone. He did not know that immortal crane sect's He Feng Yang defended him, blocking the assault of the other 9 sects. But he understood somewhat why no Gu immortals attacked the blessed land. Hu immortal blessed land was not like the 3 kings' blessed land on Xianxia mountain. This blessed land was still very young. It had a land spirit and ample immortal essence storage, and even Dang Hun mountain as the core protection of the blessed land. These 3 elements made Hu immortal blessed land as secure as a fortress. Most Gu immortals had no way to force their way in. How hard was it to attack this blessed land? Fang Yuan knew most clearly. 500 years into his past life, he allied with almost 10 demonic Gu immortals invading this place. Eventually, he had a narrow victory. Only he and Song Zhong were left. Song Zhong was the son of Song Zixing, a rising star of the demonic path. He has not been born yet. Back then, I was already a senior of the demonic path. Song Zhong inherited his father's inheritance, gaining great strength, and was able to fight with me for tens of rounds without a winner emerging, causing him to rise to fame from that battle. Thinking of his past life being used as a stepping stone for this junior Song Zhong, Fang Yuan snickered continuously. Everything's changed now. I'll find a chance to kill Song Zixing, hee. Let's see how you'll come into this world. Song Zixing had one part of the Blood Sea inheritance. It was the ancient desolate beast, violent blood dragon bat. This dragon bat is not a Gu worm. It can be captured and taken away. With the violent blood dragon bat, I will gain an endless number of blood bats. Manipulating blood bats was one of my greatest skill in my previous life. Of course, that is a plan for the future. Now I have to rely on this blessed land to cultivate quickly, getting back to my Gu immortal stage. Thinking so, Fang Yuan thought of an important question. Land spirit, how long more till the next earthly calamity? Master, I was about to inform you if you did not ask me. Right now, the blessed land has already endured 5 earthly calamities. The 6th is a year and 3 months away. Hu immortal's voice was filled with anxiety and worry. What? A year and 3 months? Fang Yuan jumped up from his bed, unable to sit any longer, his face turning grim. Everything exists in balance. Heaven is impartial. Strength comes with weakness. Blessing comes with calamities. Blessed lands have calamities and tribulations, an earthly calamity every 10 years, and a heavenly tribulation every 100 years. Not mentioning the heavenly tribulation, but just the earthly calamity. Once it occurs, the might is overwhelming. often causing great disasters. If the blessed land cannot endure it, they will face destruction. Fang Yuan had a blessed land in his previous life. He was extremely clear of the danger of his current situation. To a blessed land, every earthly calamity is a strict test. Earthly calamities get stronger than the one before. Gu Immortal died in the 5th, and Fang Yuan was about to face the even stronger 6th calamity. There are only a year and 3 months left to the earthly calamity. Why was it not mentioned in Feng Jinhuang's biography? That's right, she is a disciple of Spirit Affinity House. Her parents are both Gu Immortals. With their help, it is not hard to block the earthly calamity. But to me, this is a grave situation. The 6th calamity is coming too quickly. Even with Fang Yuan's experience, he would not have time to make ample preparations. Other than that, he still had to guard against external enemies. Under everyone's watchful eye, I snatched Gu Immortal blessed land. Although the 10 sects have not made a move, they are surely waiting to pounce on me. I understand now. The 10 sects are waiting for the earthly calamity and want to make use of it. Once the earthly calamity descends, the land spirit will have to face it with everything she had. She would not have time to take care of this master. Fang Yuan was still rank 4 upper stage. He was easy to target. Once he dies, the blessed land would be ownerless, and the land spirit will have to find a new master. If the earthly calamity causes a huge loophole, Gu masters outside would be able to enter at will. If the 10 sects find trouble, then it would add on to his problems, and the situation would certainly turn deadly. Fang Yuan's gaze shone because his soul was injured. It caused his head to hurt. He rearranged his scattered thoughts and breathed out deeply, deciding, I'll take a look at the situation, make the best preparations for this earthly calamity. If I fail, I will give up the blessed land and order it to self-destruct, not giving the righteous path any resources for free, then escape using fixed immortal travel Gu. Although the blessed land was good, how could it compare to his safety? With such a thought, Fang Yuan called the land spirit to bring him outside. He needed to know more about the blessed land now. Yes. Land spirit nodded obediently but hesitantly added, Master, you do not like clothes. Actually, wearing nice clothing would make one feel more energized, and you will feel happier too. The dresses in Dang Hun Palace was not for Fang Yuan to wear, but he had stored some spare clothing inside the Tusita flower. After changing into a black robe, Fang Yuan followed the land spirit, going up on the stairs and reaching the mountain peak. Dang Hun Montaigne's winds were very strong, but land spirit waved her hand and it turned into a soothing breeze. Master, this blessed land has 4,000 kilometers of land. The flow of time is 5 times. The 4,000 kilometers of land is mostly grassland. The grass is made up of blue degree grass, water chestnut grass, and 6 divine grass primarily. There are also 7 treasure flowers and milk tea flowers, etc. The land spirit introduced as she drew a virtual image, floating in the air for Fang Yuan to see. In the image, there was a classic grassland with all sorts of colors, like a grass carpet right before him. The blue and poisonous blue degree grass, the chestnut-shaped water, chestnut grass, 6 divine grass which looked like 6 thin leaves with the feeling of jade, and also the 7-colored 7 treasure flower, the cup-shaped milk tea flower filled with nectar that were like milk tea. With these 7 as the main, there were also a lot of weed and wild flowers. Fang Yuan looked as he nodded. Do not look down on these grass and flowers. They are cultivation resources. These 7 types of grass and flowers were Gu refinement ingredients. Some of the flowers and grass even has wild Gu worms. With 4,000 kilometer worth of land compared to Earth, that was 1.5 Hong Kong added together. How many Gu would there be in total? These wild Gu worms were extremely easy to catch. With just a command from Fang Yuan, the land spirit would be able to capture them intact and hand it over to Fang Yuan. Chapter 409, Managing the Blessed Land. Fang Yuan asked, Then how many Gu are there in the Blessed Land now? The Gu Immortal Land Spirit raised her head by a bit. At present, there are over 860,000 rank 1 Gu, with about 52 types of them. Over 130,000 rank 2 Gu, with 48 types. 5,000 rank 3 Gu, with 12 types. Only over 60 rank 4 Gu, with 8 types. and only one rank 5 Gu, Fox-Skin Gu. After Hu Immortal died, her obsession did not disappear and combined with this land's heavenly power to form into an unusual existence known as the Land Spirit. In some way, it could be said to be a continuation of her life. Thus, the Land Spirit was the representative of this blessed land and was clear about everything in the blessed land. As Fang Yuan had become the master of the blessed land now, everything in the blessed land was his. Over 860,000 rank 1 Gu, 130,000 rank 2 Gu. These two combined meant nearly 1,000,000 Gu worms. Fang Yuan recalled the time in Qingmao Mountain, those days where he had to scheme and fight for 2 to 3 rank 1 and rank 2 Gu. A blessed land could only be created by a Gu immortal. It was the foundation of their wealth, a heavenly estate. Just this Hu Immortal blessed land alone could supply for a super clan. There would not be any problem to put 5 or 6 small mid-sized clans like Gu Yu clan here. As for the Gu worms in the blessed land, their quantity sharply decreased at rank 3. Rank 4 Gu worms did not reach 100 and there was only one rank 5 Gu. This situation was also natural. It was the same with Gu masters. Rank 1 and rank 2 Gu masters were extremely common, rank 3 were already rare, rank 4 were even fewer, and only 1 or 2 rank 5 Gu masters might appear among 1,000,000 people. This was a pyramid distribution. The quantity reduces the higher you go, and the ones who occupied the top were extremely few in numbers. This blessed land is still young, and with appropriate managing, the quantity of the Gu worms will still increase. Reaching 10 million rank 1 and 2 Gu will not be difficult, but whether I can raise them properly or not, it depends on the types and quantity of the rank 4 and rank 5 Gu. Fang Yuan calculated. Mortal Gu masters would usually only raise 5 or 6 Gu, while Gu immortals could raise 1,000,000 or even 10 million Gu worms. The difference between the two is as far as the clouds were from the mud. These Gu being raised in Hu Immortal blessed land could only be considered passable. On one hand, the numbers were little, being only about 1,000,000. On another hand, the Gu were not elites. From the introduction Fang Yuan got, they were all ordinary Gu. If they were changed to Gu like liquor worm or breath concealment Gu, their value would be much higher. Even the rank 5 Fox-Skin Gu was an extremely common defensive Gu. It was effective against wind and water path Gu worms, but was difficult to use in complex battlefield. Fang Yuan did not even take a look at it. The thing that really moved him was the time in the blessed land. Time flowed 5 times faster in Hu Immortal blessed land. That is to say, one day in the outside world would mean 5 days here. This meant Fang Yuan's cultivation speed would be 5 times faster in the blessed land. He could cultivate for a year and 3 months here, when only 3 months would have passed in the outside world. With this, Fang Yuan's cultivation speed would surpass most Gu masters, and he would have greater initiative for his future plans. Naturally, there was a huge disadvantage to this. Fang Yuan's lifespan was only about 100 years. Thus, with this, he would age 5 times faster as well. The land spirit continued with the introduction. At present, there are about 1,000 groups of fox living here. Red fox, golden fox, cloud fox, wind fox, autumn fox, flowing light fox, and so on. The 3 largest groups of foxes each has about 800,000 foxes. Altogether, there are about 4,700,000 foxes. Fang Yuan quietly listened to it and nodded his head. 3 groups of myriad foxes meant 3 myriad beast kings. The development of the beasts in the blessed land had still not reached a level of creating a beast emperor. The classification of beasts was simple. From low to high, they were 100 beast king, 1,000 beast king, myriad beast king, and beast emperor. For example, Ba Huang and Ying Ming of 3 kings' inheritance were 2 beast emperors with battle strength that could match rank 5 Gu masters. They were able to temporarily obstruct Mo Wutian and Xiao Mang's advance. There are a lot of fox groups, but unfortunately they are all common foxes and not mutated beasts. Fang Yuan inwardly evaluated. Ordinary beasts' worth naturally could not compare with mutated beasts. Examples would be comparing boar and thunder boar, green bull and kunlun bull, wild dog and lion mastiff. Above the mutated beasts were desolate beasts. Above desolate beasts were ancient desolate beasts and immemorial desolate beasts. Song Zixing's violent blood dragon bat was an ancient desolate beast, one of the 9 true inheritances of ancestor blood sea. Immemorial desolate beasts were recorded in the legends of Renzu. An example would be the 9-tailed fox. Raising a 9-tailed fox in Hu Immortal Blessed Land is but a dream. Even raising an ancient desolate beast is impossible. If it is ordinary desolate beasts like Hurricane Fox or Phoenix Wings Fox, raising 1 or 2 of them could be feasible, but it would greatly depend on luck. Fang Yuan continued to consider. Since he had obtained Hu Immortal Blessed Land, his plans after rebirth had reached a whole new level. Thus, he had to revise and modify them. At this time, Jia clan's internal strife should have already stirred like a wildfire, and he would not be able to participate in it. He also could not participate in the great battle of Yi Tian Mountain. Fang Yuan intended to make full use of this Hu Immortal Blessed Land and cultivate to the realm of Gu Immortal. This meant that he not only had to resist the continuous earthly calamities, but also had to manage the Blessed Land. Currently, the Gu worms were barely passable, and the foxes might be ordinary, but they had the potential to grow. Actually, there were a lot more fox groups in the Blessed Land. At least 3 times more than the present. But the second earthly calamity caused a meteor fire rain that smashed the Blessed Land's east area into ruins, burning hundreds of thousands of foxes to death. The dark flames of that time have not been extinguished even now. The fourth earthly calamity was a huge flood that submerged most of the grassland of the Blessed Land's northern area, killing many more foxes. Thus, there are only this many remaining at present. The land spirit pursed her pink lips, her eyes revealing fear and panic as she talked about the earth calamity. At the same time, she waved her small hand and smoke flew to the air, showing the scenes of the eastern and northern parts of the Blessed Land. Fang Yuan could see. The eastern part was a scene of ruin with dust and smoke pervading the whole place. There were meteoric craters all over the place, and black flames were burning around the craters. The flames burned without emitting the least bit of sound, but this manifested an even more terrifying aura. And the northern part was a scene of vast clear water. Dark clouds rumbled in the air and rain fell endlessly. The surging water emitted bleak and gloomy sound. There were bits of grass and destroyed flowers, along with fox corpses floating on the water. These are the dark flame, meteor, and clouded white sea calamities. Seeing such a bleak scene, Fang Yuan could not help feeling gloomy. The might of an earthly calamity was extremely strong. Moreover, there were countless types of calamity, and were simply impossible to plan against. Every 10 years, the earthly calamity would pose a destructive threat towards the Blessed Land. Hu Immortal defended for 5 times before losing her life. And the devastation the previous earthly calamities left were still there and had not been cured. This was a really bad news to Fang Yuan. Hu Immortal Blessed Land has an area of 4,000 kilometers, but northern and eastern areas were gone, causing the loss of over 1,300 kilometers of area. Such loss was truly disastrous. I must settle these 2 problems. Apart from anything else, a lot of immortal essence will be used in order to suppress the burning black flames and the spreading flood. Fang Yuan mumbled in a soft voice. However, following immediately, Hu Immortal Land Spirit mentioned an even worse news. Master, the biggest trouble is here. Look, this is what was left from the 5th earthly calamity. She waved her hand and the image changed to show a different scene. Fang Yuan saw a scene of scorched black prairie, and a human figure formed from blue lightning was sitting cross-legged on the ground. Its physique was not big and looked quite alluring, however it was formed purely from lightning. The glorious blue light let out an extremely terrifying might. Human-shaped lightning. This is the earth calamity. Blue charm lightning shadow. Fang Yuan drew in a cold breath. This human-shaped lightning was one of the earth calamities. It was extremely strong and could match a rank 6 Gu Immortal. Fang Yuan looked at this scene and immediately realized the killer that killed Hu Immortal was probably this blue charm lightning shadow. Hu Immortal was an enslavement path Gu master who controlled fox groups. Enslavement path was strong but also weak and could very easily be subdued by beheading the leader tactics. Although there were many fox groups, they could not obstruct Blue Charm Lightning Shadow. In the end, Hu, Immortal, had to fight the lightning figure in close combat and lost her life. Damn it. How could there be this lightning shadow in this blessed land? Fang Yuan's expression turned extremely unsightly. He had ways to slowly settle the previous two troubles. However, this human-shaped lightning was already beyond his current ability. Master, you need to be careful when you roam around later. This human-shaped lightning strolls randomly around the blessed land. Only Dang Hun Mountain it dares not approach. The land spirit's pink and delicate face was bathed in the image of the blue lightning, her voice slightly shaky. This lightning is an earth calamity, but is also a type of living thing. Since it is a living thing, it has a soul, and thus if it approaches Dang Hun Mountain, its soul will receive shock waves until it turns to ashes. Fang Yuan had already settled his mind now. Maybe I can use Dang Hun Mountain to settle this lightning shadow, but how can I lure it? Fang Yuan's thoughts took a turn. However, the next instant the buzzing noise echoed in his ears again. He shook his head and did not continue thinking. Are there any other bad news? Tell them all at once. He gave a bitter smile and asked the land spirit. The situation was much worse than what he imagined. Hu, Immortal blessed land, was in imminent crisis. Whether it was the internal worries or external aggression, they were both very grave. As for Feng Jin Huang, with Gu Immortal parents and also the help of Spirit Affinity House, she naturally did not need to worry about these things. But Fang Yuan was just a lone force. Naturally, there were benefits that only a lone force could have. In the biography of Feng Jin Huang, it was recorded Feng Jin Huang had to offer a large amount of resources to her sect after obtaining the blessed land. The land spirit shook her small head. She had already reported the worst situations, remaining were all good news. First of all, in the southern area of the blessed land lived a tribe of Rockmen. Rockmen was a type of variant humans who lived underground and ate ore as food. This news was an unexpected surprise to Fang Yuan. Secondly, there was abundant immortal essence in Hu Immortal blessed land. The land spirit brought Fang Yuan to the palace in Dang Hun Mountain. In the deepest parts of the palace was an enormous golden bowl which was filled with green immortal essence. Besides the green liquid in the bowl, most of the immortal essence had automatically congealed into a ball. At first glance, it looked like a grape. This was something only rank 6 Gu immortals had, green grape immortal essence. Each green grape immortal essence pearl contained immortal essence that was much more than the immortal essence in the 3 kings' blessed land. With this immortal essence, there is still quite a bit of hope. Fang Yuan finally breathed in relief. Chapter 410, Dang Hun Mountain's Gutstone. Fang Yuan counted. The golden bowl had 78 pieces of green grape immortal essence. Adding in the layer of blue-green immortal liquid essence at the bottom of the bowl, it amounted to 78 pieces and a half. There was ample immortal essence, 100 times that of the 3 kings' blessed land. Fang Yuan took out 1 bead of green grape immortal essence, holding it in his hand, willing and summoning Fixed Immortal Travel Gu. Fixed Immortal Travel Gu was like jade, a meticulously crafted butterfly. It was brilliant and elegant, flying over smoothly. Fang Yuan's face paled as his body shook, cold sweat emerging on his body as his vision turned dark. If he was not holding onto the golden railing at the side, he would have fallen. Master, be careful. Your soul injury was severe. Do not summon an immortal Gu so carelessly, otherwise you would fall into another coma. Little Hu Immortal shouted, her tone anxious and her expression concerned. No worry, I know. Fang Yuan gritted his teeth, waving his hand as he spread his palm for Fixed Immortal Travel Gu to land. Fixed Immortal Travel Gu sensed the green grape immortal essence's aura and fluttered its wings, gliding in the air and landing in Fang Yuan's palm. Next, it laid down on the green grape immortal essence and slowly consumed it. Fixed Immortal Travel's name contained an immortal word that was not for show. Its food was immortal essence. A moment later, 1 green grape immortal essence was expended. Gu masters refine Gu, use Gu, and nurture Gu. After Fang Yuan succeeded in its refinement, he had not fed the Fixed Immortal Travel Gu yet. He slept for 7 days and 7 nights. The fixed immortal travel Gu was starving and its lustrous wings had dimmed. This was Fang Yuan's first feeding session for it. After fixed immortal travel, Gu had its fill. It spread its wings and flew in the air. The bright green light appeared again, like dust particles in the air. Every time it flapped its wings, it would be a beautiful light show. The unique aura of an immortal Gu continued to radiate. Immortal Gu are expensive to feed. Fixed immortal travel Gu consumes an entire piece of immortal essence every time. But after this, I would not need to feed it for 6 years. The higher the rank of the Gu worm, the heavier the cost to feed it. But the interval between each feeding session would increase greatly as well. Rank 1 and 2 Gu worms needed to be fed every few days. Rank 4 were fed once a few months. Rank 5 were fed every 1 or 2 years, and each time they ate, it would be extremely expensive. After feeding fixed immortal travel Gu, Fang Yuan left it alone to roam Danghun Palace, as long as it did not leave Danghun Mountain and get killed by that lightning shadow. At this moment, Fang Yuan's aperture was still rank 4 upper stage. It could not contain a perfectly healthy immortal Gu. The reason he could keep Spring-Autumn Cicada was because it was too weak. Other than that, it was also his vital Gu. Problems are classified into important and trivial. After understanding his situation, Fang Yuan confirmed that he was safe for the time being. After settling fixed immortal travel Gu's matter, he had to fix his soul's injury next. Let's go, little Hu Immortal, go find the gut stones with me. Yes. Land Spirit answered quickly. Master, you should have done this long ago. Come with me. Little Hu Immortal brought Fang Yuan to Danghun Mountain. The two moved on the uneven mountain rocks. Fang Yuan's body was swaying, causing the land spirit to feel worried. Master, shall I teleport you over? Teleport for what? We have to save immortal essence. Fang Yuan stared with wide eyes. Little Hu Immortal stuck out her tongue, frightened by Fang Yuan's words, thinking this master is so domineering. Even if he is injured, he is still so scary. Master, there is a gutstone here. After walking for a while, Land Spirit stopped and pointed at a rock below her feet, shouting. This stone was like a person's gallstone. It grew on the mountain rocks, having mixed colors. If one did not look properly, they would think it was an ordinary stone. Fang Yuan quickly walked over, squatting down and smashing this gutstone with his hand. Once the stone shattered, a Gu flew out and turned into a gray, eerie light, entering Fang Yuan's body. Fang Yuan felt his brain turning clear. A new type of strength had entered his soul, and the buzzing in his ears had lessened. Danghun Mountain could shook souls. It was the death grounds of all living beings. It was only because of the land spirit's suppression that Fang Yuan could move around with ease. But Danghun Mountain was not a simple death ground. The souls of living beings break into pieces on the mountain, scattering and fusing with the mountain. As time passes, gut stones are formed, and in some gut stones, guts Gu are found. It could strengthen a person's soul. This is like how the resting place of a poisonous snake has the herbs to create an antidote. All living beings compete, and the world is fair. Where there is life, there is death. Danghun Mountain might look like an absolute death ground, but a chance of survival was hidden in it. But this guts Gu can only exist for an instant. After that, it would either disperse or be broken down by Danghun Mountain again. Although the land spirit can suppress the mountain, the gutstones cannot be moved. They can only be used on the spot. Thus, Fang Yuan had to go there himself and walk around Danghun Mountain. After being rejuvenated by this guts Gu, Fang Yuan was like a thirsty traveler in the desert, getting a mouthful of fresh water. He continued on his way, and with this land spirit acting as a dutiful guide, they found another dozen gutstones, smashing them open one by one. Thus, Fang Yuan gained another 8 guts Gu to replenish his soul. Not only did his injuries heal completely, it even improved compared to before. Ha ha ha, with this Danghun Mountain, I have a mountain of gutstones. As long as I continue to consume guts Gu, one day, the foundation of my soul will reach a stage where no one has ever gotten to. Standing at the mountain waist, Fang Yuan became spirited as he laughed loudly. Hu Immortal was a lucky person because of an opportunity. She managed to obtain Danghun Mountain, like she won lottery, and moved it into her blessed land. But she was an extremely unlucky person, dying during the fifth earthly calamity. If it was not for the blue charm lightning shadow, she would eventually become the strongest enslavement path expert. Unfortunately, Hu Immortal only had Dang Hun Mountain, but did not manage to use it for herself. But fortunately, this Dang Hun Mountain is mine now. The most valuable part of Hu Immortal Blessed Land was this Dang Hun Mountain. Of course, the soul could not be strengthened endlessly with Guts Gu. Once the soul was not concentrated enough, using large numbers of Guts Gu would cause it to overinflate and trigger a certain death disaster. But Fang Yuan had his 500 years of experience, all his ups and downs after rebirth, constantly struggling at death's door. His soul was already tempered like steel, keeping calm at the face of death, a heart of ice at impending doom. To Fang Yuan, a few hundred Guts Gu was no problem at all. There were a lot of benefits and implications in having a strong soul foundation, be it refining Gu or enslaving beasts. It would make it much easier. Other than these, once the soul becomes stronger, Fang Yuan would not have to worry about killer moves like Mo Wu Tian's purple eyes. Dang Hun Mountain is a forbidden ground, first appearing in legends of Renzu. Legend says that verdant great sun flew towards the sky and ended plunging to his death. Renzu, as his father, was extremely upset after receiving the news, finding Wisdom Gu for an explanation. It was Wisdom Gu who taught verdant great sun to drink, causing the series of events thereafter. Wisdom Gu quickly said, "Renzu, oh Renzu, don't find trouble with me. Although your son died, it is not impossible to revive him. As long as you enter the door of life and death and lead him towards the road of life, walking under the sunlight, he would be revived." Renzu was shocked before becoming overjoyed and then extremely furious. He grabbed Wisdom Gu and questioned, "Wisdom Gu, oh Wisdom Gu, do you still think I am that ignorant boy from before? The door of life and death is a dangerous place. Once I enter, I will never be able to leave. After harming my son, you want to kill me too?" Wisdom Gu quickly said, "Other living beings do not know the secret of the door of life and death, thus they cannot leave. But I can teach you all of these secrets. You are a living person. To enter the door of life and death, you have to enter from the road of death. This road is extraordinary. It was the road left behind by Destiny Gu when it left Fairness Gu. The road left behind was called Path of Destiny. There are many suffering Gu inside the path of life. You have to enter from the road of death, and you need to own courage Gu. That way you will not fear the torture of suffering. When you enter the door of life and death and see Fairness Gu, you are already dead, but at the same time, you will see your eldest son, verdant great sun soul. You will bring him away and go out from another road, the road of life. Road of life was the path treaded on by Destiny Gu when it visited Fairness Gu. It is also called the Path of Destiny. But during this path, you will meet 3 obstacles. One is Dang Hun Mountain, another is called Luo Po Valley, and lastly, the Reverse Flow River. To climb past Dang Hun Mountain, you have to smash the gut stones on it and obtain Guts Gu's help. To get past Luo Po Valley, you need to find Faith Gu to help. To get through the Reverse Flow River, you have to move forward continuously, not stopping for even a second during the process. Renzu heard Wisdom Gu's words and let it go. He quickly found Faith Gu. Ever since he became blind, Faith Gu's light was the only light he could see. "Oh, Renzu, I can feel your determination in getting back your eldest son. I am willing to help you, but I urge you not to give up on this goal. Because when you give up, I will leave you for good," Faith Gu said with concern. Renzu found Courage Gu next. Courage Gu and Hope Gu were good companions. Renzu had Hope Gu, and thus saw Courage Gu occasionally. He had a decent relationship with it. After getting Courage Gu's help, Renzu came to the door of life and death, entering the road of death. The road of death was pure darkness. The large number of suffering Gu were like yellow fireflies swarming towards Renzu. At this time, Courage Gu shone brightly, chasing away the suffering Gu for Renzu. Courage was needed to face death. Renzu succeeded in going down. His body turned whiter as it turned hollow, gradually turning into a ghost. He could see again. When he got to the end of the road, amidst the calm darkness, he saw Fairness Gu. He was extremely shocked by Fairness Gu's huge body, exclaiming, "You are Fairness Gu? Why is your body so huge? A mountain is a speck of dust compared to you. The sea is like a droplet compared to you." Fairness Gu's voice was grand. "Life and death are the greatest fairness in this world. When I am inside the door of life and death, my body will become enormous. Oh, Renzu, you are here for your son, right? Feel free to go, he is right there."